The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. A new round of F&M pledges. Prime Minister promising a new PMH tower, expanded local government, increased minimum wage, all promised in the new manifesto and at a rally last night. Prime Minister also says that the PLP would destroy the economy with shady deals. And the Water and Sewage Union raising concerns on multiple issues of the corporation. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, September 2nd, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner is going to be joining us. Also this morning, we are going to be meeting a new F&M candidate. Maxine Seymour will be joining us. And later in Morning Blend Business, we're going through the F&M manifesto, what the plans are for the economy and for the business community, and just in general, what this new document has to say. That's coming up. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. Promising, among other pledges, to construct a new 6-story, 96,000 square foot tower at Princess Margaret Hospital, legalize medicinal marijuana, review an increase in the minimum wage, bring local government to the city of Nassau, and implement programs it says will provide for greater ownership of the economy by Bahamians. The Prime Minister is speaking at a drive-in rally at the Queen Elizabeth Sports Centre last night, calling it, quote, a bold and ambitious vision that lays out how we will invest in your future, saying it also is a well-thought-out plan with policies to grow the economy, to create more Bahamian businesses, reduce crime, invest in youth, and to build up our family islands and to upgrade critical infrastructure. Saying that, quote, when you compare our manifesto to what the PLP put out, you will see that what the PLP put out is seriously lacking. In the dead of the night on Friday night, the PLP released a mere pamphlet. They said was their plan. I think it may have been around 20 pages or so. We have released a creative, thoughtful manifesto that is about 80 pages. The manifesto states that the multi-story medical, surgical, maternal, and child health facility at PMH will cost about $55 million. The tower will also provide easy access and flow of patients on the inpatient wards that accommodate primary users of the neonatal intensive care units and operating theaters. The Prime Minister also pledging that the FNM will expand NHI, National Health Insurance, and complete the expansion and modernization of the Rand Memorial Hospital in Freeport. Also, recognizing that the COVID-19 pandemic is not over, the FNM said it will ensure there is adequate supply of approved vaccines for all Bahamians and residents. It said it would acquire equipment to conduct in-country analysis to determine the presence of variants of SARS-CoV-2 and provide the National Reference Laboratory with resources needed to continue expanding its testing and analysis capacity, and set up a coordinating group in the Ministry of Health to oversee the acquisition of therapies and treatments for people suffering from the long-term effects of COVID-19. It's also pledging to decriminalize possession of small amounts of marijuana for personal use, legalize medicinal marijuana, expunge the records of Bahamians who've convictions for possession of small amounts of marijuana, and establish a cannabis licensing authority to oversee the new cannabis industry in the country. It's also pledging that it'll make Crown land available for Bahamians to grow legal cannabis. Manifesto also pledging to resource a national sovereign wealth fund and create a new Ministry of Investments, Financial Services, and Commerce. And it says it will continue to create new communities for young professionals. Also from that rally, adopting a theme that helping to secure a big win for the FNM. 4.5 years ago, Prime Minister Minnis warned Bahamians that if they decide to elect the PLP and Philip Davis, they will be inviting scandals and shady dealings. He said, quote, the PLP is known most in the Bahamas as the party of scandals. They get all mixed up in scandals and secret deals that benefit their interests and not those of the people. In other news, a supporter of FNM, a candidate for Long Island, Adrian Gibson, denying that she was the owner of a company that was last year awarded over $500,000 in contracts from Water and Sewage Corporation, where Gibson also serves as executive chairman. Leaked documents show that the corporation awarded 2 contracts to Baja Maintenance and Restoration last year. Joe Knowles signed on behalf of the company for the first contract, valued at $263,000 and awarded on June 23rd, 2020, for the painting of a 5 million gallon water storage tank referred to as Blue Hill Low-Level Tank Number 1. The second contract, valued at $248,000, was awarded on November 18th, 2020. Joanne Knowles signed the contract, but despite the difference in the name spelling, the signature appeared to be the same as that on the earlier contract. When contacted by the Nassau Guardian about the matter, Knowles was adamant that she does not own a company named Baja Maintenance and Restoration. When asked why what appears to be her signature appeared on the contracts, Knowles insisted that it was not her who signed the documents. Meanwhile, the union at the corporation raising multiple concerns, citing long-standing issues that have gone unaddressed. Water and Sewage Management Union President Montgomery Miller calling for the corporation's executive chairman, Adrian Gibson, and general manager Elwood Donaldson to, quote, do the honorable thing, calling on them to resign, claiming that the corporation has been very poorly run under Gibson's leadership. Miller cited a number of issues, including a high employee turnover and a lack of regular meetings with management. He also raised concerns over failure to fill high-level positions critical for the corporation's function, noting that Donaldson has also been serving as acting general manager of human resources. Overseas, Mexico seeing the easing of its third wave of COVID-19 cases. It's been a roller coaster for COVID-19 patients there. The pandemic has played out with peaks and valleys in Mexico over the past year and a half. The country is now in the middle of its third wave of infections, a surge that began in mid-June and is just beginning to show signs of easing. Hospital beds are being monitored by doctors and nurses and specialists, even psychologists, some waiting for a bed to open while others are struggling to receive high-level care. Most patients in some hospitals are arriving arrived in a wave 2 weeks ago. The staff is encouraging folks at some hospitals that new admissions are being encouraged that new admissions have slowed. And from the U.S., Ida not done as yet, as at least 8 deaths have been reported in New York City and New Jersey as relentless rain from the remnants of Hurricane Ida sent the New York City area into a state of emergency. And the storm carried into New England with threats of more tornadoes. Police in New York City reported 7 deaths, including a 50-year-old man, a 48-year-old woman, and a 2-year-old boy who were found unconscious and unresponsive late Wednesday inside a home. They were pronounced dead at the scene. 1 death was reported in New Jersey. One major artery in New York and was underwater late Wednesday evening. Subway stations and tracks became so flooded that the Metropolitan Transportation Authority suspended all service. Videos posted online showed subway riders standing on seats in cars filled with water. Other videos showed vehicles submerged up to their windows on major roadways in and around the city, and garbage bobbing down the street. Firefighters rescued a man from a car stuck in deep floodwaters in New York City. Video shot by a New York TV station showed firefighters carrying a man from his vehicle to dry ground. The man's SUV was one of a number of vehicles stuck in water on the Bronx River Parkway. In sports, after a quiet night in their last outing, and by her standards, being a professional basketball player, Jonquel J.J. Jones responding aggressively. She tied a regular season high of 11 points to propel Connecticut's Sun to their 9th straight regular season victory as they easily took care of the Washington Mystics, 85-75. It was Tuesday night in the WNBA. It was the Suns' first game on their 4-game road trip. They went into Washington, D.C. and came out with a perfect 7-0 win-loss record in regular season play for the month of August. The Bahamian was also huge on the boards as she finished with a game-high 14 rebounds in 33 minutes of play. Out of those 14 rebounds, 6 were on the offensive glass and 8 were defensive rebounds. Also significant about the game was that she was a nuisance on the defensive side of the ball, with 3 blocks and 2 steals. Jones on a path to a new career best in points as everything went her way early on. You can read more about how well she's doing in today's Guardian Sports section. More from basketball. In just their 4th active year, the popular 3-on-3 basketball league Big Three has taken off, bringing its flair and excitement to the shores of the Bahamas. It looks to wrap up its 2021 season with the championship game this Saturday at Atlanta's Paradise Island. The Three-Headed Monsters, that is their name, and Trilogy will play in Saturday's final. The action gets underway at 3:30 p.m. The third-place game is also set for the Atlantis Resort Saturday. The playoffs were held there last Saturday. You can read more about this in today's Guardian Sports section. And from tennis, the U.S. Open going on in New York 3 years ago, reporter asked Sloane Stevens to point out a younger tennis player most fans might not have heard of yet, someone she thought could become a household name someday. Stevens paused to ponder, but not long after responded that that person was Coco Gauff, who was then 14. Well, Stevens had first met Gauff several years earlier. They last hit together on the court in Florida when Gauff was 12. And clearly she knew what she was talking about. The world quickly know who Gauff was. The pair of friends met in an official match for the first time last night at the U.S. Open. But it was Stevens, the 2017 champion, now ranked 66th, who pulled away for a 6-4, 6-2 victory over Gauff, who's now 17 and seeded 21st. That's sports. and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got a weak pressure gradient that will sustain light to moderate breezes and muggy conditions over the Bahamas. Meanwhile, an upper-level trough draped across the islands, coupled with a weak surface trough moving off the east coast of Florida, will trigger pockets of unsettled weather through tonight. Residents are being urged to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities again, as heat indices are expected to soar into the triple digits. For all areas today, your forecast calls for partly sunny, hot, and humid conditions with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, becoming fair to partly cloudy, warm, and humid with a few light showers and isolated thunderstorms tonight. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Winds will be south to southwest at 10 knots or less across the extreme northwest Bahamas, shifting east-southeast to south-southeast at 10 knots or less over the remainder of the islands. Seas 1 to 3 feet. Temperature-wise, we're looking at highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index, a big factor, 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
It is time for a break. But when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Always on the go? Missed a show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
The FNM is working to build a better future for us all, investing in our youth, delivering tax relief to families and businesses, investing in workforce development, and offering training and assistance to new business owners and entrepreneurs. The FNM is working to build a prosperous post-pandemic economy. On September 16th, we have the opportunity to vote for a brighter future. Vote FNM because it's about your future.
This has been a paid political announcement from the Free National Movement.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, we've got Laverne Gardner. Laverne Gardner, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. How are you? Hope all is well with you.
I am good. I'm good.
All right. I know this is a somber time for Grand Bahama and for the Northern Bahamas and for the entire country as we are on the 2-year anniversary of Dorian, which sat on the Northern Bahamas for days. But so we're going to talk a bit about that in just a few minutes. But yeah, I'm sure this has been a challenging time for a lot of people.
Absolutely. It definitely has. And, you know, people continue to try to recover the best that they can.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not easy with so much going on.
No.
So much happening right now. Boy. But anyway, we're going to get to more of that in just a bit, as we said. We have a lot to get to this morning. You can join the conversation as well on Twitter. Tweet us. Tell us what you are thinking. Give us your views on the topics on the show. At Morning Blend 969 or Facebook, facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. You can email us, morningblend@nasguard.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC. That's 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Now, coming up this morning, we, in our 7 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking with the FNM candidate for Seabreeze, Maxine Seymour, is going to be joining us. And later in the show, Morning Blend Business, we're going to be going through the newly released FNM manifesto, looking at what the FNM's plans are for the economy and just in general, a lot of the things they have planned. And you're going to see some serious similarities between what we've heard from the other political party that has released something we can read. I don't know what the others are waiting for, but hey, only a few days to go now, but that's what's coming up this morning. But let's get into what else is in the news. In the news, we've got a lot to get to. The FNM having that drive-in rally last night, and water and sewage, a lot of issues going on there. The unions are speaking out about what's happening, and we're going to get to all of that in a bit. But first, Dorian, the 2-year anniversary yesterday, and I mean, they basically it's a whole week because of how long people were dealing with Dorian. Was there for days, parked over the northern islands of the country. And Bahama is observing the 2-year anniversary of Dorian, which battered Abaco and Grand Bahama, leaving death and destruction behind. Residents on Abaco gathered at a memorial service yesterday to remember those that we lost. Our Georgie O'Bain has more in this report.
My personal feeling is I think more people should have been here.
Abaco Christian Council President Pastor Egbert Tinker slamming the small attendance at this morning's memorial service, stating that it should have been a national service.
I submit to you who will lead and will come to leadership, do something about that. Stop taking it so slight and so trite. We've lost our people that we knew.
A small group of Abaconians and government officials gathered on the island today to remember the countless lives lost during Hurricane Dorian. North Abaco Member of Parliament Darren Henfield applauded residents for their tenacity, but said much more must be done to restore Abaco, which was ravaged by the monster storm.
We will continue to strengthen our resources in our quest to build back better. While natural disasters capture the headlines and national attention short term, the work of recovery and rebuilding is long term. Sylvia Matthews Burwell. There is still much more work to be done as we endeavor to return life pre-Dorian. My fellow Abaconians, I applaud each of you for your contribution to restoring our communities.
Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis said more must be done to bring closure to families who are still hurting 2 years later.
Much more has to be done. For example, we need to very quickly move to rein in that period of time for the presumption of death. Many persons who are missing, the families are undergoing extreme challenges in dealing with the affairs of that missing person.
Following the memorial service, there was a wreath laying at Browns Bay and the Union Jack dock. The death toll stands at 74, with hundreds still missing. Reporting for R News, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
Yeah. Boy, what do you say? What do you say after that? You heard the pastor there saying it should have been a national address, a national service. I'm not sure. Okay. Yes, it should have been more people. Absolutely. What does that mean, though? I'm just asking. I really don't understand. What does that mean that it should have been? We can't have that many people. We know that with the pandemic, it's not like we could have had a huge number of people attending in any event.
Right.
It's going to be sad that we're not going to be able to really show. We've seen this with funerals, with weddings, everything, big events. We can't do it the way we should do it because of what's happening, and that doesn't mean that we don't care, that we've forgotten already. It doesn't mean that at all. But people are also dying, struggling physically, mentally, in every single way. It's just been awful. Not making excuses. I'm just saying it's a terrible time. This has been the roughest period probably in this country's recent history, definitely. In the last 100 years, I don't think we've seen anything like this with what we've been through with Dorian and now the pandemic.
Right. For me, I wouldn't say that there should have been more people, because I think that we have to practice safety even in remembering, acknowledging what took place 2 years ago. But there should have been a national address.
Mm-hmm.
We've never experienced anything like that before and lost so many lives, property, everything, just so much loss. And so to not acknowledge it in some way, that's not right. We didn't need to have 100 people out there. No, but we should have had a national address. And then just like there was something that people in Abaco had, you could have a separate, smaller gathering, of course, like they did in Abaco, and Grand Bahama or what, but to not say anything, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. So you're
There's
saying
no
you wanted
excuse.
You wanted to hear a national address from the Prime Minister?
Absolutely.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, Dwight. When something happens in your country that is so catastrophic, you remembered where you lose lives. You get an acknowledgement from the leader of the country. You get a pause on whatever is going on, even if it isn't a pause for the full day, but you get a pause and you talk about it, you memorialize it. But I don't think overall that we do well with that kind of thing. Yeah. It's like, okay, we got the first year. Wow, the first year, yeah, we go out, good or bad. We go all out. We remember everything. But after that, it's more it then becomes, well, in terms of Dorian, it now becomes the responsibility of Grand Bahamians to remember Dorian. It will become the primary responsibility of Abaco to remember Dorian.
Yeah.
And so it's almost a thing where, hey, it happened to you guys, so you remember it.
Yeah.
Well, it happened to the country because we lost Bahamians. We didn't just lose Abaconians or Grand Bahamians. We lost Bahamians. And it has impacted people on different islands. They've lost family, and so there should have been a national address. I'll say that. You know me, I'm not into any social gathering.
Well, is this good enough? I'm sure I know your answer. At the rally last night, the Prime Minister did pause for a moment of silence and did acknowledge it there.
Are you kidding me?
I'm just saying.
But who is that good enough for? You know something? This is where your humanity comes in. And sometimes your humanity goes a longer way in reaching people than all of your political rhetoric. And I'm sure his supporters will say, oh, no, he cares. And you had an opportunity to show it. You had an opportunity yesterday. Maybe you didn't have a drive-in rally. Maybe the people come out there and you said, listen, I know you came out here for a drive-in rally, but let's remember, and then you talk about it. And it becomes something else. And rather than getting your people all riled up because you could make digs at the official opposition or whomever, or make outlandish promises that you know in your heart of hearts you have no intention of keeping, maybe you let them toot their horns as a sign of remembering those we've lost. Because we didn't just lose cars and furniture and houses. We lost people. And those who have been left behind, it isn't over for them. It's a year later, but it isn't over for them.
Definitely.
It isn't over for us even structurally, here in Grand Bahama and likewise in Abaco. I know a lot of times when we talk about it, we talk about how East Grand Bahama was impacted and, and Lukai area and Freeport area. But I think sometimes we forget or we don't realize that there were actually people in the western part of the island who were impacted, who, because of surge or whatever, they lost too. But I'm saying, I'll say this because I'm sure we have to take also go to a break. What happened in New Orleans happened. It was a tragedy, right? Mark went there 10 years after Katrina.
That's your husband.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, for those who don't
know. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's like we're having a conversation. I'm sorry. Just in case, you didn't know. So Mark's my husband, yes. And 10 years later, they were still recovering from the devastation of Katrina with whatever resources and whatever they had. Yeah. And so this recovery period, and this is also for people who say, well, it's 2 years ago. This recovery period, you can't put a time limit on the trauma and the devastation. And it is going to take a while. Yeah. We talk about it. It comes out in very funny ways. When we get a lot of rain and dark clouds and thunder, if you go on Facebook, there's a lot of talk about the weather now than before. Like people have become very sensitive. Hey, so what's going on here?
Oh, wow.
So what we didn't hear, and people make jokes, to kind of, but you can tell underneath it, it's like we've become more sensitive to weather. So whereas before you hear thunder and lightning and stuff, you just be like, okay, let me go about my day. Even for me, I do it. I will call our family meteorologist and I'll say, hey, what's the weather like?
Everybody has one of those. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, what's going on? What is this we're experiencing? Oh, you say, oh, it's a low pressure, or no, it should be gone by whatever time. But that I never used to do that before Dorian.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. And I mean, we Bahamians have to admit we're feeling it. Even if you're not on Grand Bahama or Abaco, we're feeling it. We know there are a lot of people who've moved into other parts of the country who've left those islands. And of course, Marsh Harbor and Freeport were two giant economic pillars of the country, and they've not been the same, and they won't be the same for a long time. And that's definitely impacted everything in the country, even before the pandemic. And so we cannot deny this at all, that this has changed the Bahamas and will for the foreseeable future. And, it's very sad. Let's hear what you have to say about it, folks. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, or text us, 422-4796. Let's go to this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Miss Gardner.
Morning.
Yeah, I agree with you too, Miss Gardner and Dwight. It was disappointing listening to that address, that rally, whatever they are telling. On a historical, I will call it, date like the 1st of September. I mean, I don't see how nobody could forget that day, like, the 1st of September, and the the government, what was in power during that catastrophic event, holding a rally, right? And it wasn't no extreme acknowledgement or no strong acknowledgement to what transpired inside on Abaco and Grand Bahama, despite all of the lives was lost. I mean, it would have been such a good position for the AFNM had they built, if only one proper structure, that in the event that there's a, God forbid, a next catastrophic hurricane to pass the way, those people would have had some peace of mind knowing that, hey, there's a structure that once we could get there, right, chances are we wouldn't have to experience what happened to our families, in the past, right? And this government just blow right over it, just like the hurricane came. They just blow right over it, and it's very
and that's
scary,
really,
because
really disturbing. Because how long have we been talking about that for all the islands? Since Joaquin, at least Joaquin, we've been saying that all these islands need to have that, and we're no closer to that.
No closer, Dwight.
Anywhere.
I mean, and that Dorian hurricane should be the benchmark. That should be the mark for anybody to say, you know what? We desperately need to take a more serious initiative in making sure that there are proper hurricane shutters in these islands, because there's nobody in the Bahamas controls the hurricane, but we could control people being hurt or killed or missing from the hurricane, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. I think I'm not sure if I said it on this show, but certainly in conversation, what makes a hurricane shelter a hurricane shelter? How does the powers that be determine that this building here, as opposed to the next one, is a hurricane shelter? Is it just the capacity of people that you can hold? Is that it? Because I'm just saying, with us being on the hurricane belt, and certainly the islands of the Bahamas didn't move recently, right? So we've been there all this time. By now, like the caller said, we should have at least one shelter on the smaller islands, and on the more inhabited, bigger islands, you have at least 3 or more, or 2 or 3 shelters in strategic areas, and shelters with reinforced walls, roofs, whatever, and really let it be a shelter. Because as we saw with Dorian, going into places where it's just a lot of space didn't offer any protection.
Definitely not.
And what happened was you had to move. People tell stories of they feeling the roof lifting and all of these things. And of course, depending on the category of storm, you may still experience some damage from it. But if you get these reinforced buildings, I think it would go a long way. And it's something that we should have. We
heard that so often during Dorian that people had to evacuate the shelter.
Right, the shelter.
So many stories like that.
Absolutely.
And that's just ridiculous, right?
Right.
No, that shouldn't be happening. Continue to call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259.
You know what, Dwight? I was thinking, even in terms of the prime minister, right? And I won't say that he doesn't care. I'll say that it appears that way, but I won't, because I don't know how he really feels, right? But we can only go by what we see, what you say. Even from a political standpoint, if you wanted to win brownie points, yesterday would have been a great time to share your caring, touching, feeling heart for the people. I'm not saying that should be your motivation, but let's say, you're all focused on the politics and election is coming up. And wouldn't it have been a great time to say, hey, I'm in touch with my people. I feel for my people because they are a part of me as I am a part of them.
Yeah.
It would have been a great look. Look at what the Progressive Liberal Party did. Right. Now listen, y'all, PLP supporters. Let me clarify this before we get some calls and I get annoyed. I'm not saying that's why it was done. I'm not saying that was the motive of the Progressive Liberal Party. What I am saying,
suspend their campaigning yesterday,
right, to win brownie points. But it caused you to look and say, wow, at least they've done it, right? So I'm just saying, even if you just took it from that standpoint of just doing it for the look.
Okay. Let's hear what you have to say about that, folks. The Laverne mentioned the PLP made a big point of saying it, that they were suspending campaigning in the observance of the anniversary of Dorian, but the F&M had a big drive-in rally with lots of music and the launch of the manifesto, at least.
Right. So think about it. If I'm a voter who's on the fence between whether or not I'm going gold or I'm going red, and I live in Grand Bahama or Abaco. Just think about yesterday. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know who the campaign strategist is, but I'm just saying.
Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. That's Miss Gardner, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, Miss Gardner hit around in there. How long Dwight Miss Gardner was being a hurricane belt nation? We should have had a plan in place from that time. Matter of fact, they're talking about the blueprint. Did they discuss hurricane planning, shelters, building shelters throughout the island?
Yeah, I
or
believe
turning all engineer, all buildings constructed, some of them very strong, into shelters. Are they discussing this, right?
I believe there's talk about that in the blueprint. Yes, I am going through the manifesto. We're gonna talk about that later. Going through the which was just released last night, so I'm going through it. Haven't seen something specific about that yet, but I'm going to see. But definitely, I believe there was something.
So far. Look at what Ms. Gardner talk about. That's not in the blueprint. She need to be the consultant.
No, I think I did see something.
Thank you for the recommendation, but no thanks.
but I mean, you understand what I'm saying? What she's talking about, that's in the blueprint?
Oh, no. That's just me talking. That's
Exactly.
not in their manifest. Well, let me say, I haven't come to that section of the manifestos yet.
Yeah.
But those were just
Remember,
my
talk about a
ideas,
couple
my
different
thoughts.
things here. A couple different things. So you asked about the blueprint. That's the name of the PLP document. I said, I believe
Yeah,
I
I know,
did see something in there. I'm going to pull it up for you now. Give me a second. But manifesto, we haven't seen it yet.
But
Anything
after
specific
they
to
talk, no, be fair. They talk about shelters when cakewalks, this kind of cakewalks. They talk about building shelters throughout the island. They did talk about that. But, you know, in addition to that, we have low-lying areas. What about pumping stations? And most of our islands, most of our people get destroyed with flood. Low-lying areas could be pumped out. You follow me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
With pumping stations, we don't have pumping stations to every low-lying area. South Beach and that area where so flood, gardeners, whatever. I need a pumping station, pumping machine, meaning. All low-lying areas need a pumping machine. They talking about that? That's why
I haven't seen anything specific.
Right? The local government, Ms. Garden, all of us will sit down and plan how our community will be for hurricane.
Yeah,
and one of the things we recommend is a pumping machine to pump the water out in low-lying areas.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yep. Thanks. Yeah, local government. Very interesting that he mentioned that.
We have to, the first thing is to empower local government.
Right.
Right? That's the first thing.
They're both promising that for the Family Islands. I haven't seen it yet for what the manifesto says about New Providence, the people who did say they were going to bring it. I don't see anywhere where it mentions this. It does talk about downtown, but that's not the same thing there. But we'll get into that in Morning Blend Business a little bit later. But only one seems to be saying they're going to bring local government for New Providence. So, and it's not the people who set up the committee who devised a whole booklet, a whole blueprint for that, for how that should work and how it could work for the entire country. But anyway, again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's see what they're saying here. I know I saw something.
I'm looking too.
Which one you're looking at? You're looking at the manifesto.
I'm looking at the manifesto for the Free National Movement, trying to see if I see anything.
All right, while we continue to do that, I know there was something in Blueprint. All right. We got another call. Is that a call there? No? Oh, okay. Let's go to the text line. Lots of text messages coming in. This person says here, I believe that September 1st should be memorialized in Bahamian history, as should the date that the Flamingo was sunk by the Cuban fighter jets. Flags across the nation should have been flown at half-staff yesterday across the Bahamas from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. And again, it's days. It's days, right? It's at least 5 days. So from the 1st to the 5th, perhaps, because this continued. I mean, I don't even know if on the 2nd it had touched Grand Bahama yet.
Right.
It was still parked over Abaco, and it just wouldn't move. And this was a horrible situation that went on forever. Another one, Menace don't care, oh boy, about the Bahamas. Why would he care about a subset called Abaco and Grand Bahama? He has demonstrated this for 4+ years. Bahamians need to simply show our disgust. Reelect Pintard for his Dorian, I guess, action before, during, and after, and dispense away with the other F&Ms and aspirants. Okay. Another one, please. Let's not politicize what happened in Abaco and Grand Bahama concerning Dorian.
I don't think we are politicizing it. I'm not speaking about Hubert Minnis, the leader of the Free National Movement. I'm referring to Hubert Minnis, the Prime Minister for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And as the Prime Minister, there should have been a national address.
Yeah, and a good way to not politicize it would be to not hold rallies on that day of the anniversary. That would be a good way to avoid that too. Another one here. Why is our Prime Minister so cold-hearted? He's heartless, the real mirror of Trump. Trust me, they could call President Biden all the names in the book, but that man's That man has a heart of gold. He's real when it comes to humanity, something neither Trump have. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
I don't know enough about the.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
So.
fair to say. But hey, anyway, point taken. But we cannot continue to cloak and shield what is happening and how it is being done. If those in power continue to get a free pass, how do we advance? I don't know what this text is about. Is this in relation to what we were talking about?
I don't know. Maybe it was a text from yesterday.
Maybe.
Or maybe they're listening, and so they'll say, well, I was referring to.
Okay. This one says, Minutes was moved to tears by the suffering of foreigners in another country due to a hurricane and came to us dry-eyed. Dr. Minutes doesn't care for the people because he doesn't have to experience the country he has created. Oh, that's a cold text. This one says, it's amazing your guest is just like the leadership of the PLP, saying things because it's a popular thing to say. What now?
I don't know. Are they referring to your guest from yesterday?
I don't know who they're talking about.
I don't know what's really going on.
In case you don't know, Texter, Laverne Gardner is in Grand Bahama. She lives in Grand Bahama and lives
here all
every
of my
day
life.
And has had to experience all of this. Right? And and when we did the show 6 months after Dorian, and when I was there remarking about how I can't believe how salty the water still is and how it looked like a nuclear bomb had dropped on East Grand Bahama, she knew all about that because she, again, lives it every day. And I don't know, does it still look like that out in East Grand Bahama, Laverne? Like a bomb went off out there?
No, not as much. People are trying to. There's still a lot of work to be done. So I don't want to minimize that. There's still a tremendous amount of work to be done. But I will say that it looks better than, I guess, the best way to say it is that it doesn't look like how it looked when you came 6 months later.
Okay.
Right? But there's still a tremendous amount of work to be done. And there's still people who are displaced.
Yeah. I heard somebody yesterday talking about Abaco, and we know that they're still having power issues there and quite a few big challenges in parts of Abaco. It's going to take them a while to get back to normal, as we know.
Well, Dwight, I'm trying to move through as quickly as possible, through this manifesto. Great subheadings and stuff. I haven't come across anything as yet in terms of hurricane.
All right. This text here. I believe that there should have been a virtual national service where we pause as a nation in observance of our worst natural disaster, where the survivors get to hear about plans to restore life back to normalcy. Not sure why the government took a different route. Okay. Yeah. Another one here. Long Island, Grand Bahama, and Abaco are prejudiced voters. They're what? Okay. I don't know what's going on.
Every one that you read that I don't understand, I'm just going to assume it's from yesterday.
This one here. I'm baffled that the FNM has allowed Dr. Minutes to remain in place. It's been just one tone-deaf move after the next. Now that he hears talk on the radio about remembering Dorian, I'm sure he'll have a national address with his defeated and sad voice to remember the victims. This guy just does not care for regular Bahamians. He doesn't know. Don't talk about FNM and non-FNM supporters. He's told us over and over again, absolutely no surprises. Okay. Wow. This one says here, just love how Bahamians can come on the radio every day and pronounce what we need, but let you ask them if they're willing to pay for it. They will shout down, tax me, tax the wealthy. Don't tax me, tax the wealthy. They can afford it while drugging people. Are you talking about the shelters that we're saying are needed on all the islands? Yeah? Okay. Well, I mean, we don't know. We don't know how, until it's proposed, how people will react, right? It's been everybody else saying it. But I'm sure people would understand, and I'm sure there are creative ways to pay for this as well.
We find the resources to pay for whatever we need to pay for.
There are all kinds of things that can be done.
That's why we're running a deficit. Yeah. So, it just amazes me when people make comments like that. Oh, so where the money's going to come from? We can figure it out. Haven't we been doing that for other things? We've been figuring it out. The DR, or the disaster recovery, they have monies that they're saying it has not been used, but we can figure it out. That could have been a part of the budget for the DR.
Plus,
I'm
there
sure
are
I'm missing off a letter.
private entities all over the world
Right.
who would be willing
Who would
to
probably be willing
partake
to
in this.
contribute.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
in your quest to, I don't know what, but there are ways for it to be done, that it can be done, that doesn't necessarily include taxation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This person says here, I lost a relative in the Labor Day accident. Did they put or suspend the parades? No, they didn't. Life goes on. Take off your gold-colored cap. What about the victims of that horrible, tragic accident? Please stop. We live in a reactive country.
Okay, we're not gonna, we tend to do that. We're not gonna go, I see your tragedy and I raised you a tragedy this morning. Yesterday was the second anniversary of Hurricane Dorian, and that's what we're talking about. It does not mean that other things should not be memorialized. We just happen to be talking about that because it took place yesterday. And it is very possible to talk about one thing and to care about other things. Just because you're talking about a particular thing does not mean. Yes, life does go on. We're not saying to live in the past, but when the country experiences such a catastrophic event, it should be remembered. It should be remembered.
Absolutely.
In the United States, they still remember 9/11. They still remember it. They don't say, oh, you know what? This has happened since then and that has happened. Hey, before then, life goes on. So we can care about this, talk about this, and care about other tragedies too. We don't have to pick one. So let's not start naming tragedies. And you'll remember that I did say we don't do a very good job of remembering these things when they happen after a certain amount of time has passed. And perhaps we don't do a good job of that because maybe a lot of people feel like that texter. Hey, life goes on. You're right, it does. But it doesn't mean that people aren't struggling to come to terms with what happened. It affected the entire country. Now I'm going to get off my pulpit because, I'm kind of sensitive about this issue and I don't want to take it personally. Hey. Dwight, the texter did say for you to take off your gold hat.
I want to address that part
referring
there.
To me.
I want to address that part there. I'm getting really tired of it here. And because we're back and forth, so every time we say something, oh, you are showing your red today. Oh, you're wearing your gold cap. So, hey, what's going on here? Critiques don't mean that you are an enemy of the people that you're criticizing or that you are a fan of the other side or whatever. So please, I know that's how most of you function. In
right.
A very limited little world of the Bahamas. But some of us, not a part of any of these entities. And so stop it. Stop it. You hear us criticizing doesn't mean that, oh, yeah, we've been bought up by the other people.
The other party.
Right? It's absolutely foolishness. We can see what's going on here. This doesn't make sense. We can see that what they're doing on the other side is ridiculous, or that we applaud that or whatever. But that's dumb. It's dumb, and you need to stop saying it. Maybe that's how you are, and oh well. But some of us know. Okay? Thank you. A couple more messages before we have to take a break here. The government used the devastation of Dorian as a campaign tool. Only when it benefits them they remember. But are the people of Grand Bahama and Abaco in a better position should another hurricane come? Yet he dances on a stage like a clown. I was very disappointed yesterday. We must do better. Yeah, and well, no part of the country seems to be prepared for something.
We're not any more prepared than we were prior to Dorian.
We don't even talk about what happened in the Southern Bahamas with Joaquin anymore. Did Crooked Island and Acklands and the other islands, did they ever really get over
Ragged
that?
Island,
oh, my goodness. Is that still a part of the Bahamas?
Right?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Someone says here, no one knows no one knows the man's heart. Please tell these fools to stop this nonsense about minister not having a heart. No one knows how he feels. People still not back to normal since Hurricane Katrina. That is in the great America. So you can't expect to see changes in 1 year. You cannot build a shelter in 1 year, especially having to spend millions on assistance for people impacted by the pandemic. That is true. But again, we've been talking about these things for
We
a
can walk
long
into
time.
them. We can walk
Yes, we
into
can.
them.
But
We
we're
can
saying,
assist the people. Haven't we been giving food assistance and doing other things?
Yeah.
Haven't we been giving food assistance and we were able to create a separate ministry to address disaster and recovery? And did we not allocate funds to that ministry? So couldn't building proper or shelters, hurricane worthy shelters, or whatever you want to say the term is, could not that have been under the purview of that ministry and then resources allocated?
Yeah.
We could do more than one thing, because running a country, you have to be able to do more than one thing.
and again, we understand Grand Bahama and APCO, sure, but again, we've been talking about this from before Joaquin, right? And it's been years since that. And we've been saying that for the southern part of the Bahamas for a long time now, and yet there's been no progress. No
Right.
progress at all. Private groups have come up with plans. They've had blueprints for how this could work, and yet we've moved no closer to this. And it's very disappointing. Let's take this call, and then we've got to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, morning.
Hi, good morning.
Dwight. Morning, Laverne.
Morning.
Yeah, I'm listening to you all. Did any of you go to the rally or watch the rally now?
I watched and listened to a good portion of it last night.
Bits and pieces for me.
Okay. You realize that but half of the rally was about Orient, right? You realize that, right? And it was a good thing that they did the rally so they could speak about Orient and everybody could hear them speak about it. I thought that was a good thing. If you don't have a rally and or some event, you wouldn't know what they say about it, but they use half of the rally just to talk about Orient.
See, is that
And
the
to pray for
appropriate place?
To pray for the people and so forth and all that.
Is that the appropriate place to do something like that? That's what we've been saying.
Dwight. They use half of the rally to talk about Dorian.
Yeah. Is that the appropriate place to do something like that? That's the question. Is that the appropriate place to do that?
I still stand by the fact that it would have been good for the Prime Minister to have a national address. So, I mean, I understand and appreciate what you're saying, but let's say, you still have, he's giving a national address, you can still have everybody's attention. It can run on all the local stations, right? And you give a national address. The national address didn't even have to take place last night. It could have taken place first thing yesterday morning. And you could have given the national address. So that's my standpoint, and that applies to any prime minister, whomever is the prime minister. That I believe that is what should have happened. And, if you wanted to go a step further to memorialize the day and not have a rally, sure. But I believe that at 9 a.m. yesterday, at 10 a.m. yesterday, there should have been a national address, like how we have national addresses for certain health updates or whatever. That doesn't take long, maybe about 10 minutes. You don't have to answer any questions, but from the perspective of the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the country, not from the perspective of the incumbent in a political party. But in his role as the Prime Minister, I think that there should have been a national address yesterday.
Let's hear the call. You can barely hear it. Say it again.
Now you say you're not going to please everybody, you know.
Right.
They did use half of the rally to talk about Dorian. But you're not going to please everyone. And they was very passionate about it, so I don't see the big problem. But I think everybody got their own opinion, so. Anyway, do a good show.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. Another person saying that. It's obvious that you all didn't watch the rally because if they did, they would have seen and known that every FNM candidate and rally speaker asked for a moment of silence for the Dorian victims. Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, we saw that. We absolutely saw that.
I'm
That's not the same. I don't know if that's the same thing a caller is saying about half. We saw that. And they had to. Even the prime minister did that too. But that's not half. And that's not the same thing. Again, it's at the right place. That's all. That's all we're saying. But fine. Okay. I noticed this trend with Dr. Minutes when national figures pass away. He is literally the last high-profile figure to send condolences consistently. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know whether there's a lack of empathy, compassion, but it absolutely seems like he doesn't care. Oh, dear. Oh, boy. This one says here, the lack of appreciation and respect of our history and the memorialization of catastrophic national events is a clear example of the lack of empathy and value that we have for one another in the Bahamas. It is really a deep social issue that becomes clear in our stark disregard of certain national events, including the loss of lives during the sinking of the HMBS Flamingo. It is a part of nation building that we clearly do not understand. The government paid $20 million on sidewalks. You don't need that going to build the sidewalks you don't need. That could have gone into building shelters. Tell me what the prime minister did. And 4 years, the best thing he did was call the election. This is a lot of this today. That caller is tone deaf too. You don't need no rally to talk about people who died. It's inappropriate. The comment is ridiculous. Like I said, I don't know if it was the right setting. And is that another call? Let's take that call before we go to the break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Laverne. How y'all doing?
Doing well. Good morning.
Okay, great. Excellent topic, by the way. Good morning to the nation. Look, man, I don't understand how is it that FNM supporters whose heads are so buried deep inside the cookie jar of our treasury in this country, because they are benefiting, are so prepared to tolerate and to encourage all of the nonsense from the prime minister and his behavior.
That
is so
first part, you know, that wasn't a call for, Anton. Come on now. But anyway, go on to what your point is.
But thank you very much, Dwight. And it is absolutely called for. At some point, Dwight, we must take a stand against this level of behavior, because it is what continues to drive the political directorate to believe that they can just devalue life and devalue what impacts human beings, the humans, in our everyday lives. Look, man, yesterday we should have had a national moment of silence. There should have been a national address by the leader of our country. There should have been a national moment of prayer. There should have been a call by the entire government of the Bahamas to visit both sites, similarly to what took place where the leader of the opposition was on Abaco and the deputy leader of the opposition was on Grand Bahama. We needed that spotlight to be brought about by the government of the Bahamas, who's supposed to represent the entire country, instead of focusing on petty political tricks. As a matter of fact, Dwight and Laverne and the nation, this government uses at every opportunity they use to cover for their failures and their incompetence. They use Dorian and they use the pandemic. And you know, they text a few texts back, right? That hit that right on the head. And as a matter of fact, when you look at what is happening with the pandemic, they use, as it relates to the national debt, the national deficit, them not having a plan for unemployment, them not having a plan for education, them not having a plan for health care. They use all of that and place that squarely on the shoulders of the pandemic.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Got another one. Let's do this quick. We got to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. No? Okay. Let's take that break. When we come back, more of your messages and some other issues in the news on this Thursday morning. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Life pass you by. Weep not for the memories. Remember the good times that we had. Let them slip away from us when things got. Clearly, I first saw you smiling in the sun. Wanna feel your warmth upon me. Wanna be the one. I will remember you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
In your real-time traffic, we've got Mile Butler Highway as usual, seeing some heavy traffic just as you get closer to Harold Pond in the northbound lanes there, heading to Tonic Williams Darling Highway, you'll be seeing that. Glasser Road looking a little bit better for you, but still heavy in the northbound lane. Closer you get to JFK Drive this morning. The area looking pretty congested at that roundabout. Keep that in mind this morning. Elsewhere, Blue Hill Road, already seeing that traffic north of Soldier Road as you get closer to the Independence Drive roundabout. That's the northbound lanes heading north on Blue Hill Road. And pockets at some of the major intersections along Prince Charles and Robinson Road and Marathon Road, already seeing some building traffic northbound heading towards the Wolf Road roundabout. I'm not sure what's happening here. Some unusual traffic out in eastern Providence, eastbound on Prince Charles Drive. Not usual, but we'll try to find out what's going on there. That's what we're seeing so far. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, Banking Reimagined. And time for another check of your weather for today. We've got a weak pressure gradient that will sustain light to gentle breezes across the country, along with muggy conditions. Meanwhile, an upper-level trough draped across the island chain will mix with a weak surface trough moving off the east coast of Florida, and that's going to trigger pockets of unsettled weather through tonight. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly sunny, hot, and humid conditions with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, becoming fair to partly cloudy, warm, and humid with a few light showers and isolated thunderstorms tonight. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near showers and thunderstorms. Temperature-wise, we're looking at highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will be a factor. It'll be up to 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius, and again, residents being warned to hydrate and limit outdoor activities as the heat indices will be in the triple digits. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, the upper level trough will shift eastwards as a weak surface ridge will build into the area, lowering the potential for unsettled weather across the central and southeast Bahamas. Meanwhile, active troughing just north of the area will keep rain and thunderstorm chances in place for portions of the northwest Bahamas through to the weekend. So for tomorrow, Friday, look for variably cloudy, hot, and humid conditions with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Saturday, partly cloudy, very hot, humid, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in the northwest Bahamas, becoming partly sunny with isolated showers and thunderstorms in the central and southeastern islands. In the tropics, we've got Hurricane Larry, and that's in the eastern tropical Atlantic. Elsewhere, we've got a small area of low pressure that's moving inland over Nicaragua. It has a low or 20% chance on tropical cyclone formation through the next 5 days. We'll have details on the tropics coming up in our next weather update after the 8 o'clock news. That's your Morning Blend weather check. We're back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Best rate, no delay. Best rate, no delay.
BTC gives more savings on the best fiber internet. It's super fast with super savings in every package. Compare and see for yourself. Enjoy up to 150 megabits per second plus 157 TV channels and unlimited home phone minutes for only $99.99.
Best rate, no delay.
Visit a BTC store to sign up for the best internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network. Conditions apply.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, this government was nowhere to be seen.
Your aid is coming from the U.S. What are you getting from the Bahamian government?
Nothing at all. Survivors questioned if help from the government would ever arrive.
As relief supplies are now finally arriving, volunteers complain about Bahamian government red tape.
At this point in time, we are on our own and we're trying to get our government officials, please come down here and show your faces.
When they were needed most, this government was nowhere to be found.
This has been a paid political announcement by the PLP.
Do you need to insure your vehicle at the best price? With the most options and free installment payments, CG Atlantic agents offer affordable coverage for everyone. Just call 677-6422 to find out how you can protect your vehicle with extra options to keep you covered. Why wait? Call CG Atlantic agents today at 677-6422. Visit us online at cgatlanticagents.com or in person at Atlantic House, 2nd Terrace and Collins Avenue. Nassau Insurance Brokers and Agents Limited, trading as CG Atlantic Agents.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
I won't see your smile, and I won't hear you laugh anymore. Every night I won't see you walk through that door. Time wasn't on your side, it isn't right. I can't say I love you, it's too late to tell you, but I really need you to know. Oh baby, no, I'll never forget you. I'll never let you out of my home. Oh, you will always be here with me. I'll hold on to the memories, baby.
Wow. We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner on this Thursday morning. As we remember Dorian, those many days that it was parked on the northern Bahamas and all the devastation that it caused 2 years ago. Wow. Getting a lot of your messages, a whole lot of these. I won't be able to get to all of these. It's a lot this morning. So somebody says here, Dwight and Laverne, we have a small population, several scattered islands, limited financial resources, but huge unreasonable expectations. The Bahamas is next to the USA, which causes us to expect more than we can afford. The perceived performance of governments is not always what they did or did not do, but how well they are able to temper our expectations. Bahamians, especially on family islands, need a reality check on what infrastructure to expect. Wow. Wow. Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah. Do you all agree with that? Do you think that is right? We have a lot of islands, a lot of people on a lot of islands, as the texter says. Yes. Can everybody expect to have a state-of-the-art hospital? Maybe not, but at least an all-purpose facility that could double as a hurricane shelter in a time of crisis. Is that too much to expect? What should we expect? Okay. Someone says, I don't want to sound insensitive, but I think the Prime Minister was very proactive in urging people to evacuate. Okay, that was 2 years ago. Okay, sure. All right. COVID spreading drive-up rally was so irresponsible and shameful the Prime Minister didn't show up in Abaco for the Dorian service, but it will be interesting to see who Abaconians vote for. Yeah. Another one here. Lots of promises by both major political parties. You don't know who to believe, but you don't have rallies on the same day of unhappy anniversaries. Cold hearts some people have. This person says, though, if they held a virtual memorial service for Dorian victims, the Israelites would still find something to complain about. Another one, Dwight and Laverne, trust me, you are keeping it real. Don't let those cover-ups be little. You keep it real. I think I understand what they're saying. I think so. The government used, I think we read this already. The government used the devastation of Dorian as a campaign tool. Only when it benefits them, they remember. But are the people of Grand Bahama and Abaco in a better position should another hurricane come? I think we did read that part. Yeah, we did read that one. Okay, Laverne's going to join us. She's having some issues. She'll be back with us in a bit. Another one here. Is that a call? Yeah, let's take that call then. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Good morning to all.
Hi, good morning.
I'd like to continue my advocacy for the poor. The little I've seen of the FNM plan, right? It's the same as the PLP, it pertains to housing, housing, they say, and access to land, but, low-cost housing, right, doesn't benefit the poor. The poor cannot afford the low-cost housing. That's something for middle class. For the middle class, what the poor needs is public housing. There's never the issue a conversation on public housing in the Bahamas. You see, and I don't know. Did the Guardian print the manifesto, the FNM manifesto yet?
The Guardian?
Yes.
You can go on their website, fnmbahamas.com.
Okay. So what did they say about taxation? Did they say they're going to bring income tax, or what did they say about it? Because my view is if they're not going to do income tax, what's it's nothing for the poor. We like to say, things should have been done yesterday. Well, income tax should have been done 50 years ago. If we would call ourselves progressive. I don't know what the...
Call us back. We're going to get into it in our 9 o'clock hour, going through the plan, going through the manifesto. Everybody is talking about reform, right. And that can be very vague, and reevaluating what systems we have right now. Right?
And then they're going to say, they're talking about being progressive. Being progressive, taxation is income tax. How, and they're running away from it. You see, and we like to talk about the middle class carrying the nation. How could the middle class carry the nation without them paying income tax? It's impossible. But anyway, thank you much.
Okay, thank you very much. A few more text messages, and then we'll take a quick break. Let's see what we have here. Somebody says here, so you only read texts that agree with you? If so, this is a poor reflection on journalism, okay? No, we don't. We read all of the hateful messages we get every single morning, all of them, except for the ones that use profanity. So there you go. Okay, as many of them as we can. It's a lot more that we can't read, because we get a lot. Someone says here, it amazes me how some PLPs seem to have awakened now on how members of parliament should behave when they governed. Their behaviors were shameful. And clearly something's happening in the world. Many people saying they agreed with Anton today. Usually we don't get those type messages, Anton. But they're like, yes, he's right. I so agree with Anton. He's so right and on point. The F&M government needs to get it together. No humanity whatsoever for the Bahamian people. Real talk. Boy, this one here. The Prime Minister didn't even attend the mass burial of Dorian victims. Do you really think the anniversary of the storm would be significant to him? The leader of the opposition did not attend the funeral either, and his stunt yesterday was politically motivated. Shame on both of them. And this one says, was there an event for Dorian last year? Yeah, definitely there was. And someone says here, oh boy. No, I can't read that one there. This one says, to me, the Prime Minister is okay, but I do wonder who advises him. Maybe he needs a better advisor. And another one, who these people who don't understand what you guys are saying, that it should have been done from early in the morning. As the Prime Minister, indeed, we just now see yellow and red. Okay, I think you get what they're saying, right? Yeah. Yeah, Laverne, this is a tough one. But hey.
It is, you know.
The thing that concerns me, though, is whether we are learning. So there's this is brought up now. Will we learn better? Will we know better for next year, for the 5th year anniversary? Will we do inappropriate things? Will we look at every scenario and say, well, this could be offensive to some people? And I know people are going to say, well, you can't be doing that for everything, then you won't do anything ever, because somebody will always be offended and always be upset.
Right.
And it is a tricky, fine line.
Yeah, and you can't be all things to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But I think regardless of which party you support, when things happen that so greatly impact the country, as I said in the very beginning, Dorian may have damaged and taken lives in Abaco and in Grand Bahama, but Dorian happened to all of us. And I'm going further to say, we all felt that. We were all concerned. Even if you didn't have a family member or a close friend on one of those islands, or one of these islands, you felt that. You were empathetic, you were sympathetic, you were concerned, you were worried. We've never experienced anything like this. And it is important that we remember these things. And who better to set the tone than the leader of the country?
Yeah.
Who better to set the tone? And that's basically all that we were saying. It doesn't come down to a party. It comes down to, as I said, I am referring to the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I'm not referring to the leader of the Free National Movement. What you want to do and how you want to remember what happened from a political standpoint, from your political party standpoint, that's entirely up to you and the executives of your party. But you are wearing that hat as the leader of this nation. And so I stand by the fact that there should have been a national address. It could have taken place, like I said, first thing in the morning, 9 o'clock. We get the WhatsApp and whatever goes out that says there's going to be a national address in 10 minutes. Everybody's going to tune in because they're all afraid and think it's going to be a lockdown, because that's what happens,
Well, that's what
right?
some people were texting, that they don't want to hear a national address because they're afraid of that. But even if it's just a statement.
Right, and you come out and you say something. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out. Again, I'm not all about the different ceremonies and stuff in the midst of COVID, because I'm a person, let's distance ourselves socially. But certainly from that office, there could have been, and I stand by that. Now, who wants to misconstrue that as being whatever can go ahead.
Yeah, we're running out of time for the segment, but let's take this call really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning to your guest.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, Mr. Strachan, I agree everything what this lady is saying. You know, this been 2 years. The Prime Minister, the whole cabinet, I think, should have been over in Abaco and sit down with those people. And I think he should have been there in Abaco yesterday. I don't know if you remember. I think it was last year or year before last. I think, I can't remember, it was a taste in case it was another country get devastated too. The Prime Minister came in the host assembly and cried crocodile tears for those people.
Well,
Where is your compassion for the Bahamian people? He had
Don't
no
know if they
compassion
were
for the
crocodile
Bahamian people.
tears,
He
but
cried
yes, we
in
do
host
recall.
assembly for, I can't remember what country it was, but I know it was a Caribbean country got
I
hit.
believe it was
And
Dominica.
he cried in host assembly, crocodile tears for those people. He should have been over in Abaco. He should have been there, and it's too late.
All right. Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Don't know if it was crocodile tears, as we said, but yeah, we do remember that. Is there another call, or are we going to the break now? Caller? Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you, and good morning to Ms. Gardner. C. Alan Johnson. Let me say the easiest way to understand our current Prime Minister is to examine the closeness and similarities between narcissism, sociopath, and psychopaths. And here's the slight difference.
I mean, I don't know if this is a helpful discussion. All right. But okay. But what do you make? You as a Grand Bahamian, what do you make of yesterday? Do you have any issue? It's 2 years. We can't do this every year. Some people are saying this is what the texts are saying. Is he gone? Okay. Boy. Anyway, let's take the break. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Maxine Seymour, the FNM candidate for Seabreeze. We have a lot to talk to her about. So stay tuned. We'll be back.
'Cause I never said goodbye. It isn't right. I should have said I love you. Why didn't I just tell you? God knows I need you to know. Oh, baby, no. I'll never forget you. I'll never let you.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Let me ask you a few questions. What's your name?
Pam.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Is your money safe?
It's under my bed, so I guess so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, why?
Unless your money is in a bank or credit union that's a member of the Deposit Insurance Corporation, there's no guarantee it's safe.
Yeah, but what if something happens to the bank?
Your Bahamian dollar deposits are insured up to $50,000, so you'd still be ahead. Plus, your mattress might catch fire. Then what?
Man, those banks and credit unions are looking good right about now.
Visit the DIC's website at www.dic.bs. Protection for your money, guaranteed with DIC.
Growing up over the hill, Dr. Minnis learned the importance of education. That's why the FNM is delivering on its commitment to expand education access, improve academic opportunities, and push to make the University of the Bahamas tuition-free. And it's why the FNM is repairing and building schools in every corner of the Bahamas, paving the way to a brighter future. The FNM is making a difference for the next generation of Bahamians. September 16th, vote FNM, because it's about your future.
This has been a paid political announcement from the Free National Movement.
It's summertime. The temperature is rising, the beach is calling, and the bills are piling up. You need relief. Let BOB make your summer as sweet as Eleuthera's finest pineapples with the lowest consumer loan rates in the country. Consolidate debt to reduce your monthly payments, secure funds for school fees and home repairs, or save big by switching to a BOB mortgage. Sweet relief is here. Apply today at BOB, your bank of solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
KB and Sting, coming with the Bohemian team. Come on. Woo! Oh, yeah. Yes.
On Guardian Radio 96.9, Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. We're going to break for news in a bit, but we want to welcome in our guest. She's the candidate for Sea Breeze for the FNM, Maxine Seymour. Good morning, Maxine. Great to have you with us on the show.
Good morning, Dwight. It's good to be here.
All right, so we're going to break in a bit, but just want to ask you, we've been talking about this for most of the morning about yesterday, the anniversary, 2-year anniversary for Hurricane Dorian. Some people saying that what we saw yesterday with the campaigning was not quite appropriate. I want to get your views on it as a candidate. What do you make of that? Should a day like that be held in a more somber manner? And what's your take on this?
Well, I did attend the rally last evening held by my party, and I have to say that being there, the entire rally was unlike any other I've attended. It was very somber and low, and every speaker who spoke acknowledged and recognized Dorian, its anniversary, the people. You know, it was very much a tribute to Dorian on the 2nd-year anniversary. And so for me, you know, the party paused, we remembered, we recognized the Prime Minister in his talk. Like I said, everybody, you know, I mean, seeing the pictures and seeing the red and seeing the pom-poms may give the impression that it was a party out there. But having attended in person, that's not what it was at all. It was very much a tribute to Dorian and, you know, recognizing the strides we've taken since then in the rebuilding of Abaco and Grand Bahama.
Okay, all right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into who Maxine Seymour is and why you're running for Sea Breeze, and just talk in general about what your plans are. That's when we get back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:25, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got a weak pressure gradient that will sustain light to gentle breezes and muggy conditions over the Bahamas. Meanwhile, an upper-level trough draped across the islands, coupled with a weak surface trough moving off the east coast of Florida, will trigger patterns and pockets of unsettled weather through tonight. For all areas, your forecast calls for partly sunny, hot, and humid conditions with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Becoming fair to partly cloudy, warm, and humid with a few light showers and isolated thunderstorms tonight. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Temperature-wise today, look for highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index will make it feel a whole lot hotter, like about 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius, and everybody's being advised to limit outdoor activities and remain hydrated with these triple-digit heat indices. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that upper-level trough will shift eastwards as a weak surface ridge will build into the area, lowering the potential for unsettled weather across the central and southeast Bahamas, but active troughing just north of the area will keep rain and thunderstorm chances in place for portions of the northwest Bahamas through to the weekend. So for tomorrow, Friday, variably cloudy, hot and humid with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms mainly across the extreme northwest Bahamas. Saturday, partly cloudy, very hot, humid with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Becoming partly sunny with isolated showers and thunderstorms in the central and southeast Bahamas. We've got a lot going on in the tropics. Ida still wreaking havoc in the northeast United States. Lots of rain overnight. Devastating rain, actually. Then we've got a small area of low pressure moving inland over Nicaragua that has a 20% chance of tropical cyclone formation through the next 5 days. And there's Hurricane Larry. Hurricane Larry recently upgraded, became a hurricane over the eastern tropical Atlantic. As of this morning, it was about 540 miles west-southwest of the southernmost Cabo Verde Islands. It's moving towards the west near 20 miles per hour, and this general motion should continue through tonight. Now, a gradual turn toward the west-northwest and a decrease in forward speed expected by tomorrow, Friday, and Friday night. A slightly slower west-northwesterly motion is expected on Saturday. Maximum sustained winds have increased to near 75 miles per hour. Steady to rapid strengthening is forecast during the next couple of days, and Larry could become a major hurricane by Friday night. But so far, we're expecting that to curve more toward the north and hopefully not be a threat to anybody. But that's what we're looking at. So far, we'll keep you updated on that, though. That's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. And a quick check of traffic for this morning brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In real-time traffic, heavy traffic on Milo Butler Highway from Fire Trail all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. You're going to be seeing that from the roundabout all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway today. Glaston Road looking a little bit better for you, but still heavy traffic the closer you get to JFK Drive. You'll be noticing that once you get closer to Munnings Road in the northbound lanes there, all the way up to JFK. Elsewhere, Blue Hill Road, as usual, heavy traffic near Carmichael, and further south near St. Vincent Road, and of course, north of Soldier Road as you approach Independence Drive and roundabout there. And elsewhere, we've got at the major intersections along Prince Charles Drive and Robinson Road, you're going to be seeing that, along with pockets of Soldier Road, so pockets near Soldier and East Street, Soldier and Windsor Place. And Marathon Road is also looking busy for you, northbound lanes up to Wolf Road. East Street, Eastern Road and Village Road and Shirley Street, that area seems to be a bit congested at the intersection of the traffic light there. And then we've got pockets along West Bay Street near Nassau Street. If you're headed eastbound, you're going to be seeing some traffic there for you this morning. Those are your hot spots. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
KB and Sting, coming with the Bohemian team. Come on. Woo! Oh, yeah. Yes. I's a Bohemian, hairy born and bred. I don't want to live nowhere else, even when I dead.
And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. We are talking with Maxine Seymour. She's the F&M candidate for Sea Breeze. We're very pleased to have her with us this morning. Maxine, I've known you for a long time, but for folks who are not familiar with you, who is Maxine Seymour?
Well, Maxine Seymour is, a mother. I work hard and manage the household. I'm married, take care of my aging mom, And I've been serving children in our country for years, which I would like to now do on a national level. I'm a new candidate, but I'm not new to politics because I've actually been around the F&M party for many years. I grew up in the 80s campaigning alongside my relatives in Exuma. And in the 90s and in the 2000s, I would have worked closely with my mentor, the late Honorable Teresa Moxie Ingram, for many years. And so, like I said, I'm a wife, mother, professional, and an F&M, a Bahamian woman.
Yeah.
Ms. Seymour, why now? Why this time, this year? Why did you decide that you would offer yourself? What prompted that?
Well, I'll tell you that I've wanted to offer myself now for some 30 years. And the thing about it is that it seems that persons are of the notion that the ideal time to offer oneself is when it's easiest to serve or to lead. But right now, our country and the world is in a very, very challenging time. And we need strong leadership now more than ever. And so now is the time when I wanted to put myself forward because I can identify with a lot of what the Bahamian people are going through because I myself have experienced these things. And I feel as if we needed persons like me, ordinary people, to represent families like mine.
Maxine, what do you say to this? The people who've seen patterns of people like you who get into politics, people who were doing things before they entered the arena, and were making progress, accomplishing a lot of things. But when you get in there, things seem to change. That you often have to tote the party line, you have to fall in line, and that it diminishes what you are able to accomplish. When you enter politics, you can. It seems like you can do more when you stay out of it. What do you say to people like that who say, "What is the point of it, and why get yourself mixed up in all of this?"
Well, I'll tell you, Dwight. For me, the only way to truly make lasting positive impact at a national level is through politics. Because there's a lot other things that you can do, like you just mentioned, but to truly impact change, to truly advocate for, effective legislation and policies to protect our children, because children are huge to me, right? And to truly ensure that, you have safer neighborhoods and you're tougher on criminals when they act. You need to be involved in frontline politics. And going into politics, the thing is, I'm coming from a background where, like I tell the Seabreeze residents, when I see a security officer walking down Sandilands Village Road, pouring sweat, after standing on his feet for all day on a long shift, working, but his bus, drops him feet away from his home, just like the persons on Hannah Road and in Linden Pinling Estates. I can't see me getting into politics and forgetting that because I used to catch the bus. So I know what it is to walk far to a bus stop. I've been the victim of crime. And so I can't see me going into politics and being like, oh, I'm not concerned about you anymore and your crime situation. Because I know what it is to wake up in the morning to go to work and not have a vehicle to jump in. Or to come home after a long day at work and have things missing. And someone, completely having shopped in my home for the hardworking things that I purchased for my family. And so I hear you, but I know that because I've experienced a lot of what people have experienced. I've had to struggle. I've had to find a job. I've had to work hard to qualify myself to get a better job. I've had to push and raise funds to get to college. And so I've lived these things. I'm not distant in any way from the experiences that everyday people face. And so I can't see me forgetting that and forgetting my people who I'm elected to serve.
So you mentioned all those things. What does that mean? What can you do about those things? So how can you change those experiences that you and many, many, many other Bahamians have experience today?
Well, I'll tell you, for example, with crime, Seabreeze residents are often targeted. And, I've talked to them, I've talked to the Minister of National Security and talked about how we get to reduce the opportunity for crime to occur in Seabreeze and how we deal decisively with the perpetrators when it does. And so right now in Seabreeze, as an example, there are 2 functioning neighborhood crime watch associations, and we want to work to figure out how we duplicate those best practices in other neighborhoods across the constituency. Advocate, work hard with the Royal Bahamas Police Force to increase mobile patrol in the area, to make sure that the response time is acceptable, and to really kind of identify what the vulnerable areas are and what the weak spots are. Because in Seabreeze, for example, with Imperial Park, there are areas where, the communities are not properly cordoned off from other communities, just as an example. And so, how do we really, look at these areas and how do we improve them? These are things that, advocating for effective legislation and really just making sure that the children have safe neighborhoods so that they could be children. Working with the business, the entrepreneurs I've met in Seabreeze to really help them grow market share, advertise their businesses, connect them with each other and with their community members to support. And so there are many ways that I can make and I will make a difference in the lives of the residents of Seabreeze so that, as far as road traffic and the Ministry of Transport and public bus transportation system, these things have to happen. It's completely unacceptable to have people experience some of the things that Seabreeze residents share with me that concern them.
All right, so let's mention the last one that you talked about there, the bus system there. We hear this from every administration that they're going to deal with this once and for all, but here we are. We're still there. What specifically can you do? What do you propose? How do you see this being addressed once and for all?
Well, we have to. First of all, I don't take no for an answer. For me, it's not acceptable to say that whatever excuse you want to say. And so we have to push, and I am going to push the Ministry of Transport, push everybody to make sure that it happens, advocate, whether that's getting, signatories on letters. But the reality is that these are Bahamian people. These are hardworking Bahamian people that need access to public transportation. And a part of the government's role is to provide that access. And so, yes, it may have been something that's been talked about, but for me, talk is not acceptable. And people who know me know that excuses are not something that I easily accept. And so it won't be enough to just say, okay, this is another administration, let's talk about it. And then I'm going back to Seabreeze residents with excuses to say that it couldn't happen. I know what it is, Dwight, to dig my heel in the ground and have to fight for things. Like I said, nothing ever came easy in life for me. I didn't have it made. I didn't have a college fund. I didn't grow up with anything. But I'm where I'm at because I pushed and I didn't stop until I came up with a solution and I implemented that solution and I executed on it. And that's the same kind of representation that I'm going to bring to Seabreeze. I'm going to roll my sleeves up, get to work, and get it done. And so I hear what you're saying, and maybe excuses may have been acceptable in the past. I don't know. But they're no longer acceptable for Seabreeze, not with Seymour.
Yeah. What constitutes Seabreeze right now? Give us some of the neighborhoods that are in the constituency.
So Seabreeze is Sir Lyndon Pinling Estates, Bitterroot, Imperial Park. We have Golf Course Boulevard. You have Hannah Road. You have, parts of Lamumba Lane, Joe Frankton Road, Seabreeze Lane, Pine Yard Road, Sandilands Village Road. These are all, parts of Marigold Farm Road. That's the Seabreeze community in a nutshell.
Yeah. All right. What do you make of the campaign so far? How it's going and the number of candidates we see in so many constituencies and the number of parties and just the tone of this election season?
Well, so far, like you said, we're having, and it's so beautiful, Dwight, to be a part of a democracy, because I don't take that for granted. There are so many persons around the world who don't have a say in selecting their governments. And so I'm happy to live in the Bahamas where we could freely express ourselves, which we do in terms of our politics. And so I'm happy to see so many persons come forward to contest the elections. And in Seabreeze, I'm focused every day on meeting residents, listening to them, hearing their concerns, and figuring out how we can serve together to create a better Seabreeze.
Ms. Seymour, just listening to you, and I love your passion and your commitment to Seabreeze. Wanted to ask you, though, where are you in terms of, well, I shouldn't say where are you. As let's say you are successful in your bid for Seabreeze and you're working in the community, but what is going to be your stance if a decision made by, let's say, if the party that you are supporting or a part of, if they are making decisions or make a decision or choose or want to make a decision that isn't beneficial to the people of Seabreeze, how is that? Where would your stand be? Would it be with the people of Seabreeze or would it be with the party?
What I will tell you, Laverne, is this, that to represent someone is to, I'm not in Parliament for Maxine. What I think, how I feel, my opinion doesn't matter. All that matters is Seabreeze, their concerns, their heart, their vision, what they want to see at the national level. So because we cannot build a parliament in our small country that can hold 300,000 plus people, they divide into sectors and they take 5,700 or so of them, and then they say, look, you choose one person to send to Parliament to read these acts, to debate on them, to make sure that they become law, okay? And so as a representative, whenever something is coming at a national level, what's important for me and critical for me is to understand how the people in Seabreeze feel about it, and then to represent their views. And so as an example, I've already been thinking through so many mechanisms, whether that's, everyone in Seabreeze has a password that they log on and they're able to vote. The reality is that I'm thinking through a number of different communication channels to be able to stay in touch with the residents in Seabreeze. What does that mean? That means that if something is going to be tabled in the House of Assembly, I need to put it out to Seabreeze residents, do a poll, and if 60-something% of Seabreeze residents say this is their position, and when I stand in Parliament, I have to speak for Seabreeze, because while I'm a part of a whole in terms of my party membership, I was still sent to Parliament by the people of Seabreeze to represent their views. And that is a top priority for me.
All right, we've got a lot more questions for you, Maxine Seymour, but we need to take a break right now. When we come back, we'll get into those, and we'll get some of the text messages as well. You can text in 4224796. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Oh, yeah! Now that your age is not everything, now that your kids call you for advice, now that you can achieve anything you set your mind to, why stop? Nourish your strength and energy with Ensure. Ensure provides protein, antioxidants, key vitamins, and minerals to support your immune system. Now that it's your moment to enjoy your vitality, why stop? Your life, your health, your Ensure.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. And an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
You've tried everything. ASUS with your mother's cousin's sister's auntie, and even hiding your money under your mattress. But is your money safe? Your Bahamian dollar deposit in a member bank or credit union is insured up to $50,000. If anything happens, your deposit up to the insured value will be returned to you thanks to Deposit Insurance. Visit Deposit Insurance Corporation at www.dic.bs.
Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community.
But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
KB and Sting, coming with the Bohemian team. Come on, woo! Oh yeah! Yes! I's a Bohemian, hair and bone and bread. I don't want to live nowhere else, even when I dead. I's a Bohemian, and I always late. If you want me there by 9, better tell me come 8. See, I's a Bohemian, and I don't like say nobody gonna spend my money when I go to my grave. Yes, I's a Bohemian, don't want make no fuss, but if you
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. We are talking with Maxine Seymour, the FNM candidate for Sea Breeze, and I'm having a great discussion with her this morning. Got to ask you about this. This is one of my big issues. Local government in general, but also local government for New Providence. We had made a few steps toward this in the last couple of years, but it looks like that has dropped off a cliff now. What's your view on local government for New Providence? What do you think about that?
What I will say is that we do have to look at the structure of governance on the ground in New Providence. New Providence Island has the, majority of the population of our country on it. And there are real issues in various neighborhoods that I am noticing that the persons who live there and who frequent there know about, and that they can report on and execute on. And so the reality is that to have it all go up to one person can create a bottleneck of sorts. And that's why, for me, like I said, I'm looking at solutions to manage that. And so we do need to look at local government for New Providence, because structure is very important. And I would support something like that.
After the committee for looking into the local government in New Providence project issued their very comprehensive report on how it could work and how it could be a framework for family islands as well, the minister at the time almost flippantly said, well, what would the MPs do? Do you agree with statements like that the MP won't have a role if you allow for community leaders to be responsible for certain aspects of the management of these areas, these districts, and of their communities?
I can't speak to that statement in particular, but what I would say is that if we had more community leadership, the Member of Parliament could definitely provide more strategic oversight and really help to really connect it all, bring it together, ensure execution from a, overall standpoint. The reality is that the MP would be able to focus more on legislation, and not just community and the kind of maternal support that communities need.
Yeah. All right. There's the previous Member of Parliament. There's been a lot of controversy there. How has that impacted your campaign? You're running for Sea Breeze, and what the residents there say to you. What do they say about that?
Well, I've been focused on Sea Breeze, the residents, their concerns, and what I have to offer. And I've really enjoyed meeting and interacting with them. And I look forward to continuing to do so.
Okay. All right. Let's get to some of these text messages. Again, you can text us as well, 422-4796. This question here. Please ask your guest if she would defy party leadership and vote to reduce VAT, if that should ever come up. Well, let's simplify the question. So, where do you stand on an issue like that? If it ever came up that there would be a vote on increasing it, how would you vote in a situation like that?
The F&M government is very committed to the people of the Bahamas and to the country and its advancement. And so whenever the government raises a point or proposes something, it's for the better interest of the people. Nonetheless, my role, like I established earlier, is to stand for the people of Seabreeze. And so it would be about, what their collective voices, what their concerns are, what it is that they have to say on the matter. But I trust our F&M government to make good decisions. But of course, if there's ever any concern, the reality is that I continue and I will stand with Seabreeze.
Okay. This person says, I live in Seabreeze. Please ask where her headquarters is located, and when can I see you? Give us some information about that.
Well, the headquarters is in Unit 2 in the East Gate Plaza on Joe Farrington Road. I'm in office every day. I'm on the ground every day, and I'd love to speak with that person. And so if they can go ahead and give us a call at 603, I know it's hard to kind of give numbers out on the radio if they're driving or something, but 603 66 I'm getting used to it. 6687.
Okay.
So that's 603-6687. Or connect with me, online, Facebook, Instagram, and any other way. Or just drop in. Drop into Eastgate Plaza on Joe Farrington Road anytime. I'm in. Yesterday I had so many great conversations with them. So I look forward to meeting that individual.
Yeah. We got a question here about flooding in the area. Let me see if I can find it. How are you going to combat the flooding issues, and what infrastructure do you have in mind to combat hurricanes in the future for the residents in the community? Okay, so tell us about that. Flooding, which area? Pinewood is not a part of your area, but you're pretty close.
No, but there are. Well, Seabreeze, there's a lot of low-lying areas in Seabreeze, and they do have issues with flooding. Mm-hmm. So, in the back of like Marigold Farm Road, Hannah Road, off Seabreeze Lane, there are a number of different areas, Pine Yard Road. There are a lot of different areas in Seabreeze that have challenges with flooding. And we've been talking with the residents. In fact, just the other evening, there are 2 residents who went ahead and put in personal drainage systems on their property just to manage the kind of flooding that exists. There's a gentleman in Seabreeze whose home, he lives off Seabreeze Lane as well, and there's like flooding in the area. And for the past year or so, like he literally has his furniture on concrete blocks throughout his home. So he can't even sit on them or use them, but he says that's still better to preserve them. And so there are real challenges with flooding, but once I came and I started a few months ago to speak with the residents in Seabreeze and recognize that challenge, right away I connected with the minister who works on it and spoke with him. Now, our island itself is a low island, and so the traditional drains that we once used aren't necessarily still the solution because they find that water comes up through them. But the Minister of Works is working toward a newer solution that engineers have come up with that the government is piloting. And once it functions, it'll be rolled out to other areas on the island. And so this is something that I'm actively looking into and working on and speaking to authorities about to ensure that it's addressed because there are very real challenges in Seabreeze when it comes to flooding.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. All right. Okay, some of these I'm not sure I can read. But yeah, hey, this one here. See more for Seabreeze, a stand-up person who knows how to get things done. Looking forward to quality representation. All right. This other one here says, I'm an undecided voter. Convince me that I should vote for you.
Well, like I had said earlier, and I don't know the voter's background, But if that voter is looking for somebody who has been there and done that, who knows the struggles of life and who knows what it is to have to really push and strive to achieve and accomplish their goals, who will work for them and work hard for them when the cameras are off and the lights are gone and the drones are all sitting on the table. Someone who is going to be there working hard in the trenches, in the fields, connecting with them, caring for them, and really serving them and accessible to them, then Seymour for Seabreeze is the way to go.
Let me ask you what you see. What's your personal vision for the Bahamas in 5, 10, 25 years? Where do you hope to see the Bahamas, including Seabreeze, but the whole country?
Okay, and so, like you said, everything for me in terms of serving the people of Seabreeze is the first step on a journey of national service. And before I go on, I just want to say to those persons who messaged, the person who's from Seabreeze who raised the flooding issue, the undecided voter, please drop me a line. Please hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Seymour for Seabreeze, or Gmail. Let's connect so that we could have a more, in-depth conversation on these matters. So, right, our country is still relatively young, but we're doing well. We have a ways to go, and we have the resources in place in our country. We just need good representation to leverage these resources. And so in the next few years, I expect to see our country prosper. We're going through a rough spot right now, but we're coming out of it, and the road ahead looks bright. I expect to see tougher legislation and policies when it comes to children and protecting our children, because it's unacceptable to have somebody defy children and get away with it, whether that's a $100 fine or a couple of days in prison. And I'd also like to see us get tougher on crime, continue to, allow for the Bahamian dream, continue to allow persons who want to own homes to have access to home ownership, continue on, as the F&M is doing, to improve the quality of healthcare in our country, continue to ensure that we're thriving and really thoroughly diversified when it comes to our tourism sector, continue in terms of education and access to education. We have universal preschool education now, and we have free tertiary education. So I look forward in the next 5, 10 years to an even more intellectually astute population, and we're already among the brightest in the world. And so these are some of the things I look forward to, and most of all, in the coming years, I look forward to having a female hold the highest office in our country.
Oh my. Would you be interested in that highest office?
Absolutely, Dwight.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, look at that. Maxine
Ms.
Seymour for
Seymour.
Prime Minister.
Ms. Seymour, we've had to, with COVID, do things a little differently in terms of campaigning and what all you can do and still remain safe. But from the campaigning that you have been able to do, how has the reception been for Seymour for Seabreeze?
It's been so overwhelming, Laverne. Like, it's almost as if people have been waiting to connect with somebody who they can feel, who they know, whose heart they can sense, and who they know is really just the person for the job, someone who can relate to them, someone who could connect to them, someone who knows them. Even the little kids in Seabreeze, there are so many wonderful children in Seabreeze I've met, interacted with. Even the parents have said that these children, she doesn't even seem to like people, or she doesn't even talk to strangers. But I've really been able to connect with people in Seabreeze on a real level, Laverne. I'm talking real level. And so I get in trouble all the time. I've been on the ground for maybe about going on 3 months, 2 to 3 months since I got ratified. And the small team that canvasses with me, I'm always in trouble with them because they're like, you can't take an hour at every home, but it's because I'm, having tea with a tea set with a little girl, or I'm playing with somebody's dragon toy, or, just talking and connecting, just sitting under a tree, or, it's so overwhelming, the amount of, produce and plant clippings. In fact, our family even has a cat at home. I think we've had the cat for about a week and a half, a cat named Breezy, because we parked on Sandilands Village Road about a week and a half ago to canvass. And, you know, we heard this crying from way down in the bush. And my husband, of course, decided he'll go and rescue this kitten that we assume might have been the runt in the pack and he'd been left behind. And everyone was concerned that maybe it would, you know, get eaten by a dog. We couldn't find the mom, couldn't find any other cats. And it was so small, you know, all the eyes, like not properly open. And it looked so sickly, but now it's all roaming about this house being, I call it like tortured with love by my kids who, you know, love it so much. So we call it Breezy. One daughter calls it Loki because that's Thor's brother's name. Who knows what the cat's real name is because it's so many, it's a big family, right? But we've really been a part of Seabreeze, and I look forward to continue to continue listening to the residents and really serving alongside them to build a better Seabreeze.
Wow. Good. We've got about a minute left. We've got a text coming in here. Somebody's asking about derelict vehicles being a big problem in the constituency. What can you do about that? What is the plan for that?
Again, I just spoke with Minister Ferrero on the same matter. Listen, I am working with Seabreeze. There's derelict vehicles in general are challenged in Seabreeze, but there's a vacant lot as an example where a crane operator literally dumps derelict vehicles in the bushes.
Wow.
And the derelict vehicles are like 12 feet in the air, stacked up. And the homeowners nearby are saying to me, like, this is ridiculous. I mean, literally a residential area that's become a dumping ground. And so I continue to leverage those resources. I just had that conversation with Minister Ferrer last week. We have to address these derelict vehicle issues. They're like irking me. And like I say, I'm not satisfied with the mediocrity for Seabreeze. That's not acceptable. And so we're going to get on that.
Final question. You mentioned that you'd be interested to be the Prime Minister one day, but should the administration, the FNM, win the election, do you see a role in the cabinet? Which one do you have your eye on at this point?
Well, as we know, cabinet ministers are appointed at the good pleasure of the Prime Minister, and so I wouldn't want to preempt that at all. I will leave that to him. But what I would say is that based on my years of experience in management and managing budgets and working in corporate and private sector and government organizations, I feel equipped to manage any ministry that's afforded to me the privilege to serve.
Okay.
Well, I will say this before, Dwight, we go, you know, I hear you about if you are asked to serve, but based on your comments before and your commitment to Seabreeze and standing for the people of Seabreeze, and I assume that also you would probably vote on behalf of the people of Seabreeze should you have an opportunity to vote on a decision. I don't know how well that would work with being a cabinet post, because if you should have to vote on behalf of Seabreeze and it's not necessarily in line with that government, you may not have that position, as we see has happened to some. But I will say, Ms. Seymour, that I really admire your commitment to the constituency of Seabreeze, but more than that, your sincerity. And so I will say to you, best of luck.
Thank you, Laverne. I really do appreciate that.
And I will say the same thing. Best of luck to you, and hopefully we will get to talk again. Maxine Seymour, thank you very much. Good luck in Seabreeze.
Thanks so much for having me, Dwight. Thanks, Laverne. And before I go, I just really want to let the people of Abaco and Grand Bahama know that I personally, my family and I continue to commiserate with them on their loss. Dorian was an unimaginable storm, and, you know, we continue to rebuild, and it'll take time. You know, I think Hurricane Katrina may have been 15 plus years ago, and there are still parts of Louisiana that haven't been rebuilt. But as we work together, I continue to pray for them and for all the souls of those departed.
Absolutely. Thank you very much again. All right, we're going to take a break for news. When we come back, more. We've got Morning Blend Business. We're going to go through as much as we can the FNM manifesto and see what we can see about the economy and what the plans are for the country going forward. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
bitches. See, I's a Bahamian, I love to compete. But when my side lose, I say they cheat.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Rain season is here. If you're not prepared, it can really turn your life upside down. Fortunately, there's CG Atlantic General. Our people are here ready to assist at a moment's notice, with protection like alternative accommodation for those who are displaced due to a storm. It's our priority to make sure you have what you need when you need it most. So when your life gets turned upside down, we can help to turn it around. CG Atlantic General. Good like that. Security and General Insurance Company Limited, trading as CG Atlantic General. Contact a CG Atlantic General broker today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back. Welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, September 2nd, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. And this morning, as we did a couple of days ago with the PLP's plan blueprint for change, this morning we are going to go through the F&M Manifesto 2021, specifically looking at business, the economy, the issues that they are proposing to address the economy. But I'm sure we're going to get into some other things as well. And the manifesto released last night, and it's an 81-page document. Prime Minister at that rally last night, making sure that people paid attention to that, how comprehensive this document is in comparison to some others. But that's what we're going to look at this morning. Laverne, you got your copy handy, your electronic copy handy, as we haven't seen them. I'm sure they are out, but we don't have them yet.
Yeah, I do. You got to save money and resources, you know. You can do everything digitally. Do you really need to print out a copy?
That's right. And they, of course, used all the printing money to print all those flyers all over the place.
That's right. Don't forget.
The lawn sticky thingies.
Signs. That's right. The sticky in the ground things.
Sticky in the ground
That's where the resources went.
All blowing all over the streets. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So
let's look at this comprehensive plan.
All right. So it's the manifesto, and it's on their website, fnmbahamas.org, and you can download 2021 manifesto. And it's quite a few things here. Some things already jumping out at me. We'll get to that this morning. All right. So jobs and investments. It says here that in the post-COVID-19 world, the Bahamas must quickly rebuild its economy to boost jobs, economic opportunity, and business ownership, and take advantage of the global economic recovery. Our vision includes greater ownership of the economy by Bahamians, including small and medium-sized business ownership, land ownership, home ownership, shares for Bahamians in enterprises such as the new cruise port in downtown Nassau, and greater ownership in sectors such as tourism, agriculture, fisheries, the digital economy, and the creative economy. Okay, we've heard all of that before, definitely.
Right.
But let's see if we can find what's new here. In our next term, we intend to work with investors to complete major tourism and investment projects on New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Family Islands, including hotels, boutique resorts, and new cruise facilities and ports, including the expansion of the Grand Bahama Shipyard. Develop a home porting act for the cruise industry similar to the Hotels Encouragement Act. Continue capital works throughout the country, including the completion of major Family Island airports. approve and mobilize new infrastructure projects to prepare the entire country for economic revival, approve new construction projects to get the economy moving rapidly, approve building permits to jumpstart housing projects, and approve projects in every sector to leverage the private sector and international investors, and approve and implement the digital marketplace to enhance the sale of Bahamian products and to ease the purchase of imported goods.
Nothing really new. You know what I mean? Nothing really new and innovative. Maybe number 2, develop a home porting act for the cruise industry, similar to the Hotels Encouragement Act.
Now, that could be problematic,
really,
right?
Right.
That one there, we know how many incentives and how many things that are the hotels don't have to pay.
Right.
Exemptions they have, and will that be the same here for the cruise ships? And again, what's going to make up the shortfall there? Who's going to make up the shortfall there? Will that be more of a burden put on the Bahamian people, taxpayers, the middle class, underlined and highlighted, to make up the shortfall there, if that's what we're talking about, which we know has come with the Hotels Encouragement Act.
Right.
So that's interesting.
Well, and that's the thing, if you just read it in and of itself, you think, okay, but always remember we're giving up something, and so we have to make it up somewhere else.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
I always say people aren't coming here because they're doing us a favor. People are coming here because this is where they want to come. They're interested in coming. And when we make these acts and negotiate, we should always negotiate from a position of strength. So make sure that we aren't giving away every single thing and then kind of shooting yourselves in the foot or causing the Bahamian people to bear the brunt of your negotiations on their backs. But yeah, nothing really new in this, innovative, whatever, It's just regular stuff that we hope that you were doing this term.
Right.
Right.
They also say here they're going to provide $50 million a year in support for Bahamian entrepreneurs, totaling $250 million over 5 years. Provide a minimum of $25 million over these 5 years, specifically for an entrepreneurship program geared toward Bahamian women and youth.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, that'll be a discussion about, discrimination.
Well, I mean, it already sounds like, well, why
Right.
just, well, first of all, anyway, okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyone?
Maybe
that's odd. That's odd.
Perhaps the research shows that
the current environment for people to come forward for assistance is
skewed
women.
in a way that it is
I find that hard to believe.
It's not friendly for women and youth. Right.
Okay.
But should this come to fruition, we're going to have a discussion about discrimination and why just women and youth and all of that.
So are they talking about male youth? No, just
it says youth.
Just youth.
So my feeling is that it's whomever they determine, whichever age group.
That's funny. So that's just pandering there. That's okay.
Right.
Whatever. Anyway, they go on to say, ensure that the Bahamas Development Bank continues to support small business development, ensure that Bahamians with disabilities have access to funds for small business development. I know a caller a couple days ago or yesterday was talking about this, what's being said about opportunities for people with disabilities. And another one here, continue to promote incentives and concessions for Bahamian businesses, including in light manufacturing, fisheries, agriculture, the creative economy, heritage tourism, sports, technology, education, the culinary arts, and other economic sectors, and continue the government employment incentive program, the program will lead to 2,500 jobs being created in the near term. Businesses have been able to apply for VAT credit to cover the salaries of up to 10 new employees brought on to their payrolls as of July 1st. The allowable tax, July 1st this year, the allowable tax credit is up to $400 per week per employee.
So
they're paying people to hire people.
Right. We're paying people to hire people, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Hey, man.
And will these new hirees only have employment as long as
we're paying?
As we're paying. Right? And the minute we say, okay, well, this program is up, are we going to be faced with increased unemployment? Yeah. Okay.
More on this. In the next term, the FRM says it will resource a national sovereign wealth fund, create a new Ministry of Investments, Financial Services, and Commerce, launch Invest Bahamas. Now, I thought this was hilarious because just 2 days ago we read to you, of course, how the PLP's plan it's called Bahamas Invest. And I don't know what's happening.
And this one is called, so not
Invest
to be confused.
Bahamas. Right.
This is called the FNM's plan is called Invest Bahamas.
But theirs is Bahamas
the Progressive
Invest.
Liberal Party one is called Bahamas Invest.
Oh man.
And why do we need a new investment agency anyway to replace the Bahamas Investment Authority?
Well, I just want to know what the third party people are going to call theirs.
Something else. That's just what it's going to be named. Something else.
No, they got to have a play on the words here. Be Invest or Bond Invest. I don't know. But yes, Bahamas Invest, not to be confused with Invest Bahamas. Wonderful.
A third party on could be Bahamas Invest Bahamas. I don't know. Bahamas Invest Bahamas.
I like that, actually. Bahamas Invest Bahamas is great.
Yeah.
BIB.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. They're also going to create...
I'm copywriting that. If any of them are still doing their manifesto, you're going to need to get permission for me to use that.
Mm-hmm. That's great. They're also going to create a national infrastructure fund, foster new public-private partnerships for infrastructural development. Breathe.
How are we funding infrastructure now?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I have no idea.
Okay.
No idea. Yeah. Whatever they can pull out of the hat.
Isn't this already your responsibility? So if you're going to be resourcing this National Sovereign Wealth Fund, couldn't this be used for other things other than infrastructure? I don't understand the other one. Ensure banking facilities on all major islands.
Yes, ensure banking facilities on all major islands. When the banks have, I don't know how they're going to ensure that. The banks have we've talked to bankers. Remember, we've had quite a few conversations with the heads of banks, and they've said why this hasn't been working for them and why they've had to close some of those down, and how hopefully online will be the way that more people will be able to do their banking. So they're going to have to offer some major incentives.
Again.
I think one banker did say that as well, that the government's going to have to be very creative with this.
So basically, you're going to use funds to entice banking facilities to open on major islands. So you're giving away more again?
Unless they do their own. I don't know how it's going to work.
I don't understand why it falls under the National Sovereign Wealth Fund, and I'm going to need further explanation on ensure banking facilities on all major islands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to need further explanation.
They also say they're going to offer incentives and opportunities for various technology industries, light manufacturing and mining, review the Data Information Act and amend where necessary, facilitate the development of privately issued micro-property insurance policies for people who meet specific criteria, and implement a public-private partnership for the post office to make it more efficient and modern, and review the possible implementation of an economic permanent resident program. Oh my. Okay. All right. So from what you're
We
hearing
don't
so far,
already have one?
well, they're probably going to no, probably not.
We don't?
I know there were some things being done, especially after a few years ago, a couple of years ago, to entice some people after the pandemic, right? So, but I guess they're looking into that seriously now. Let's get your views on what you've heard so far, folks. You can call us.
Good, Dwight, for the sovereign wealth fund? Maybe if they look at other countries and what they do with their sovereign wealth fund?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and get some ideas from there so that the people are able to feel it.
Yeah, absolutely.
In some meaningful way.
Folks, if you're listening, you're following along as well with your copy. You can call us and tell us what you think so far about what you've read, what you've heard. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's read some of your text messages. We'll take that call in a second. This person says, you can scratch that shipyard, PM, just like spewing out large, this is an expletive there. The two mega docks will absorb the $300 million, and to add 70% of the employees are expats. So where is what he's anticipating? I just retired from that agency. Oh boy. Okay. This person says the FNM hasn't even touched the 2017 promises as yet. Manifesto 2021? What a joke. This person says the development bank is declining. People manufacturing, it's the same. They are handpicking people they want to support. It's sad because the ERC said manufacturing is part of their sustainable goals. Boy. All right, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Ms. Gardner.
Hi, good morning.
Ms. Gardner, to answer your question, when the government wants to fund infrastructure, they borrow the money. I think that's the beginning and end of it. But Dwight, you remember when a reporter asked the Attorney General about the manifesto from the last term, and he basically suggested that, well, we don't follow those documents. But even if you listen at their speech from the throne, none of the things that they had in their 2017 manifesto was mentioned in that speech from the throne. And it's the speech from the throne that actually says or dictates the agenda of the government, not the manifesto. The manifesto is
I don't think there was nothing from it mentioned. Some things were indeed mentioned, but a lot has not been done.
Okay.
A lot.
Okay. What was mentioned? I don't recall.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot from that one that's missing in this one. So obviously the plan has changed, and we do need some answers on it.
Well, okay. So if something was mentioned in that, I haven't seen anything done. Because basically, from they came in, it was all about special interests, and again, all I'm hearing is special interests again. Because why are we going to spend money if the government gets back in to prop up a private company like the shipyard? And then we look at the cruise industry. Why should the cruise industry care about the Bahamas when they get the milk for free? You know? Are we going to, again, just give away everything that the country owns, basically begging from a position of weakness, again, just to get a couple cruise ships, again, polluting our waters? If you look at the past 25 years, the PLP and FNM was governed the same, and none of them basically followed their own plan. So why should we listen to this nonsense? I like to listen.
Yeah. Great points. Some people do get swayed. Some people do think this is what they're going to do, and some are hopeful. Some are, keeping their fingers crossed that they will live up to their promises.
Honestly, I think since the last election, those people who may have been swayed by these manifestos are a little bit manifesto and promise wary. I was scrolling through to see if I could see anything about fixed election dates and campaign reform.
Oh, yeah?
And the Freedom of Information Act. I was just seeing maybe if that was going to carry over if they are successful in getting another term. I may have been speed reading and overlooked it but I didn't see
We're going to
anything.
continue to look today. We're going to see. So, yeah, people are pointing it out. Invest Bahamas is already quite advanced. So is the PLP coming with this Bahamas Invest, knowing that Invest Bahamas is already moved a bit. So they have it here that the FNM's already commenced the process to create a new Invest Bahamas Authority, a new investment promotion and approval regime and structure. They say that on page 13. People are texting us to say the same thing, that's moving along. So to come with Bahamas Invest is something interesting.
Right.
When you know
That's
there's
why I was
already
confused.
Invest Bahamas, but hey, that's what you got to make it yours. You got to make it yours. This person here says, we have a sovereign wealth fund, the sovereign rule, and her successor controls that. This one says here, I like the idea of resourcing infrastructure as ours are rapidly declining and the U.S. just had to do a massive funding to do the same. Upgrade is a good idea. Yeah, okay. There's a lot more here on digitization, the same things we've been hearing a lot. But now this moving up to land, access to land, we know that's been a major challenge. It says here that in the next term, we intend to launch the Bahamas Homes Initiative, through which there will be the creation of at least one major serviced lot development on all major islands. Make materials for home construction in government subdivisions VAT-free, and continue with the duty-free and real property tax concessions we have previously implemented. The continuance of Crown land grants and land regularization exercises for Bahamians, extend first-time homeowners tax exemptions, continue creating communities for young professionals throughout the Bahamas, repair all government-owned rental properties in inner-city communities and sell units for a nominal fee, and continue to work with the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation to make home ownership available for more Bahamians. Well, some of those sound pretty good there.
Some lofty goals there.
Yeah. We will see. It'll be great if they can accomplish those. Another one here, in the next term, we intend to ensure that, this is a tourism now, that more small and medium-sized Bahamian service providers and entrepreneurs are incentivized to be engaged as owners of tourism properties and in providing more goods and services for our tourism market, help and incentivize more Bahamians to return to their ancestral islands and take advantage of their real estate holdings. Now, that's going to be interesting. How do they intend to do that?
Tell them, go home. Go back home.
Infuse more of the history, art, music, and culture of the Bahamas into our tourism products and services. It sounds familiar. We heard similar talk from the PLP as well. And accelerate the establishment of a world-class hospitality management and training center at the University of the Bahamas for Bahamians and international students. Okay. They're also going to increase the funds available to develop peer-to-peer rentals through the Small Business Development Center and ensure the Bahamians in the Southern Islands are granted a new slate of concessions on the full range of materials they will need to build or renovate a house or start or expand a business. Okay, that might go a long way to getting people to move.
Right.
Yeah. And about Bahamas Air and aviation, Bahamas Air will expand the delivery of visitors to the Bahamas from more overseas markets and become more directly integrated with Bahamas-based private carriers to enable easier reservations and connections for both residents and international travelers. And they're saying this is critically important for those travelers wishing to make a quick getaway to more destinations in the Bahamas. And
But the big question is, Dwight, will Bahamas Air ever make a profit?
Don't hold your breath. I think I heard somebody say that that's not what it's there for. But the government will continue to work for the ongoing transformation of Bahamas Air to suit the needs of Bahamians and visitors, and for the airline to take advantage of new trends and needs in domestic and international aviation.
What does that mean?
No idea. All right. And before we take a break here, with transportation, with ground transportation, it says the FNM will explore returning to the requirement that certain tour packages include a mandatory tour, as was the case in the 70s and 80s, and that these broader range and variety of tours will be conducted by qualified tour providers, whether with sedans or buses.
So, is there going to be a way? Because sometimes you have these tour bus companies that their one bus could hold 600 billion, and of course I'm being ridiculous, people. So they're the only ones taking advantage of bus tours or ground transportation because they can just hold everybody, as opposed to the smaller buses, and you're better able to share it amongst those other people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if there's going to be something to address that issue.
Yeah. Wow. Almost monopolies. Yeah.
Right. And that's what happens.
Mm-hmm. All right. We still have a call? Or... Yes? Caller, still there?
Yes, I'm here.
No. Okay. Hi. Good morning.
Yes, good morning again. You know, my data kind of ran out, and you talked about, did you say something about the raise in the wages? Did you read that yet?
We haven't gotten to that as yet. Earlier, we mentioned that was they said they would look at the minimum wage.
Right.
We're going to get to that in a moment.
And you read about the housing.
Right.
See, that's again, like I say, that's counterproductive to the poor, because the poor can't afford the sale of the purchase of these rental units, and Margaret Thatcher did that in her reign. She sold all the public housing, and it didn't work. See, all those people did was was able to buy these units. They flipped them. You see, what we need is public housing. Housing is not housing ownership. Public housing is a social thing for people that's like low rental or free occupancy. You see, so we need to take care of our poor people and stop asking them to train, because the word of God say that they would always be with us, and the fact is that they are the masses. You see, so we talking about, hey, we're going to grow the economy, we're going to provide jobs, education. Folks that are not educated, that's their responsibility, and I don't see. We got to stop lumping the poor with the middle class.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, what the FNM says they're going to do about the environment and Grand Bahama and infrastructure, more on that, and local government as well. Some interesting developments there. We're going to talk about all of that when we get back. This is Morning Glen Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Like clothes at the washer.
No, but just a hard day, Dwight.
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and Gretzy.
We need to start joking about everything, This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
But what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us, boy, one big contract. And nobody else get a chance, and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. Government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell people to sign the papers. Then he send me the meters, boy, downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blown a whistle like he jump all my life and jumping.
No way. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower, and I ain't no snitch. I still white,
But ain't nobody gonna know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you, and your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like Kong salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, this government was nowhere to be seen.
Your aid is coming from the U.S. What are you getting from the Bahamian government?
Nothing at all. Survivors questioned if help from the government would ever arrive.
As relief supplies are now finally arriving, volunteers complain about Bahamian government red tape.
At this point in time, we are on our own, and we're trying to get our government officials, please come down here and show your faces.
When they were needed most, this government was nowhere to be found.
This has been a paid political announcement by the PLP. This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjusters.
Final moments of our traffic watch, and there's certainly more activity for traffic moving about within the inner city areas now. Nothing that's hefty and giving lengthy traffic lines or wait times at all, but active enough that some areas you still have to ride the brakes. I can see the growth in traffic along Wolf Road in both directions, traffic slowing that corridor down, and there's a buildup of the traffic on Mackey Street at this point. A slow one, mind you, but nonetheless, it is building up. Coming into the city over on the Eastern Road or Bernard Road or using Fitzshaw's Drive is still hassle-free. Out of the west, coming in along West Bay Street doesn't really slow down until you pass Arawaki. As you're heading into the city, you're going to be the traffic line into the Nassau Street Junction, giving you some stop and go from there. However, the look of the southwest area is still a different picture altogether. Gladstone Road still has a heavy single lane of traffic trying to get out there onto JFK and back to pass the hill. So Walla Walla Highway, the two lanes there, stacked in a slow ride, still backed up from the Fire Trail roundabout, and now even Carmichael Road has slowed down on the exit there to Blue Hill Road, having a minor traffic congestion getting out of that intersection, giving you some wait time to get out. Getting over the hill at Blue Hill Road is also slow, but once you're out of there, it's an easier ride into the city. At this point, I don't have any accidents or road incidents at this time that I know is going to slow your ride down. This National Traffic Report is service of Garden of Eden, where you're able to enjoy stew of boiled fish, chicken, pig feet, tuna or corned beef, sheepdog or sauce, just the way you like it. Delicious Bahamian breakfast every Thursday through Sunday morning from the Garden of Eden and up until 3 o'clock each day. Call now to order and get easy pickup directions at 819-5574. That's 819-5574. With around the sky, look at traffic in real time. I'm VA
Michael was in a horrible car accident. Prudential Loss Adjusters managed his claim and got him the settlement he deserved. Sierra's roof received hurricane damage. Thanks to Prudential, she and her kids are happy with their claim settlement. Tammy fractured her ankle in a slip and fall. Prudential saved her time, money, and peace of mind. Prudential Loss Adjusters are here for you whenever a tragedy strikes. Call 322-4026 now.
Don't wait for disaster to strike. This hurricane season, be ready. Protect your home with an affordable and comprehensive home insurance policy from Shield Insurance. You can't control what nature blows your way, but with Shield Insurance, you can rest easy as you ride out the storm. Protect your largest and most valuable investment. Don't take a chance. Put your home in our hands.
Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau, call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
PLP Deputy Leader Chester Cooper says a PLP government would encourage the Central Bank of the Bahamas to grant at least 3 commercial bank licenses to Bahamians or groups of Bahamians. Cooper making the remarks during the PLP's Economic Summit this week, explaining that his party hopes to bring more Bahamian ownership to the commercial banking sector. The move would also be used as an impetus to stimulate the country's economy. The majority of the large commercial banks in the country have their roots in Canada, and many have pulled out of the Family Islands in the past 2 years, contending that it did not make business sense to have branches in certain communities. There have been calls for Bahamian-owned banks to fill the spaces in those communities, but that is yet to happen in a meaningful way. However, the central bank created the world's first digital fiat currency, the sand dollar, in an effort to spur financial inclusion, especially on the Family Islands. Cooper says the PLP would look to the country's national development plan for guidance to kickstart much-needed reforms. In other business news, the retail price index peaking at the end of the first quarter. Consumer prices jumped 2.7% at the end of April, with consistent growth in the retail price index during the first quarter of 2021. The quarterly statistical digest released by the central bank confirming concerns raised earlier this year by the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, as well as the Bahamas Price Control Commission, that prices were skyrocketing amid the rising cost of raw materials and shipping operations globally. The data showing that the retail price index increased from 108.75 in 2020, the highest in 10 years at the time, to 109.71 in January and peaking at 110.26 in April. An RPI, similar to the consumer price index, measures the average change in prices over time that consumers pay for a basket of items. In particular, for Bahamian consumers, while the cost of most basket items increased across the board, the price for healthcare, transportation, and communications rose the most. Overseas, Ireland's privacy watchdog has fined WhatsApp a record 225 million euros or $267 million after investigation found it breached stringent European Union data protection rules on transparency about sharing people's data with other Facebook companies. The Data Protection Commission saying today that it was also ordering WhatsApp to take remedial actions so that its data processing complies with the EU rules. WhatsApp said the fine was out of proportion and that it would appeal the decision. The watchdog's announcement wraps up an investigation into the Facebook-owned messaging service that opened in December 2018 after the EU rules, known as General Data Protection Regulation, took effect. It's the second penalty and the biggest issued by the Irish watchdog under these rules. Last year, it fined Twitter 450,000 euros for security breach. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Wednesday, your market movers: Bahamas Waste moving 3,000 shares up 1 cent to $6.50. Consolidated Water unchanged at $2.43. Emira Incorporated unchanged at $11.55. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,067.13, up 0.04. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, Morning Blend Business. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner on this Thursday morning. We are going through the manifesto, the FNM's newly released manifesto, and looking at what the FNM intends to do should it be reelected after the general election. All right, so we are at the point where we're talking about the environment and renewable energy. And the FNM says that in the next term, they intend to set an effective minimum SEER rating for importation of air conditioning systems to ensure only energy-efficient air conditioners are used in the Bahamas. Lower duty on all home appliances that meet a defined energy standard. Pass and enact.
We already have that?
Well, they sound like they lower it even more.
Okay, lower more. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, that's something. Pass and enact a Renewable Energy Encouragement Act to facilitate activity in a robust Bahamian-led sector.
I don't understand what that means.
I suspect they don't either. Through various incentives, allow independent power producers to start building a selection of renewable energy plants. Really. Continue the installation of solar PV systems on government buildings. Lower the duty on all fully electric vehicles. Right now.
Don't we already have lower duty for electric vehicles? Okay.
Hey, things could always be lower. Always be lower.
That's fine. I understand that.
Now, the industry has been pushing for that. They have been pushing for
Right.
that. It's 10% now, and they're saying they should be even lower. They should be lower than what hybrids are at. And that's what people, So I don't know how much lower.
Always my concern is how do we make up the shortfall? Because we got to make it up in somewhere. When we do these things, it has to be made up somewhere.
Right.
And that's never in a manifesto, is it?
No.
Okay.
No. But that's a good concern to have, yes. So lower the duty. How much lower? Make renewable energy 30% of electricity needs by 2030. I believe that is what BPL has already said.
Right.
That's close to the number. If it wasn't 30, it was 25%. So, okay. Build solar plants on family islands. Expand solar street lighting to more communities across the country. They're also planning to increase penalties for illegal dumping. Do we have penalties?
Enforce?
No? Yes, enforce. It's going to be something they need to talk about. Because wow. Ensure that there are proper waste management sites across the family islands. Establish and organize a national campaign to address the rodent problem.
Maybe if they tackle the waste management site, that'll help with the rodent problem.
And the illegal dumping. Yeah.
Right.
A national campaign to address the rodent problem. That's going to be interesting. Okay. Develop and enact land use management plans on all major islands to create a structure as to how land is developed. Rigorously enforce environmental laws and rules, invest in further protection of and upgrades to our national parks, and create robust waste-to-energy programs around the country in partnership with the private sector in order to provide electricity to landfill sites and surrounding areas. Okay, all right. Let's take this call before we get to some of the other parts of this manifesto. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Hi, good morning. No? Already? Okay. Well, let's go. The next set, Grand Bahama. In the next term, the FNM plans to implement a training program for skills required in Grand Bahama involving ministries responsible for education, training, and labor, the University of the Bahamas, BTVI, the National Training Agency, the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, industrial companies, maritime companies, and the Grand Bahama Shipyard.
We already have a form of that. I'm sorry, continue.
Encourage the Grand Bahama Port Authority to approve and issue business licenses for companies without the need for physical spaces, inclusive of license fees of $100 consistent with the government's licensing initiative for companies with less than $100,000 annual turnaround. And work with the GBPA to ensure vendors or peddlers permit is liberalized further to permit a wider range of businesses.
So really nothing much for Grand Bahama. Let's keep going.
They say here they're going to ensure that the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the government create a new housing program with qualified Bahamians as recipients in the initial phase. Create a second home owner incentive program with land provided by GB DevCo and the Port Authority, inclusive of automatic resident permits. Pass legislation to ensure that developers and the Port Authority facilitate road paving throughout residential communities within the port area inclusive of environment
Enforcement.
enforcement of proper road works development or rehabilitation relative to private subdivisions. Ensure that developers and GBPA facilitate the implementation of light and water infrastructure throughout the residential communities within the port area. And establish an independent promotion agency that the Port Authority and the government jointly fund.
So we no longer have the Grand Bahama Promotion Board?
Well, maybe that's too focused on tourism, eh? Is it?
Okay.
Maybe this is to get investment
Investors,
and,
right.
and people to move there. Maybe.
Invest Bahamas invest.
Right. Work with the GBPA to ensure that there is allocation of land for the purpose of agriculture and marine resources development. Ensure that the GBPA creates a citywide cleanup campaign program in conjunction with the government and local community, including removal of derelict vehicles. You have a big problem with that in Freeport?
Not a big problem, but a problem, yes.
Last time I was there was a bigger problem outside of the port area, wasn't it? Especially in Western
No,
Grand
there's
Bahama?
some places in the port area
Yeah?
that have a lot of derelict vehicles that can be moved or should be moved.
Okay. Another one here, create a master development plan for West End, inclusive of community parks, tourism attractions, and vendors, a vendors market. Create a master development plan for East End, including the development of additional Bahamian-owned vacation rental homes and eco tours, increasing wealth opportunities, and construct microgrids in the East Grand Bahama settlements. Okay.
It continues.
Well, there's more. Yes, complete state-of-the-art 4-story hospital to expand the RAND. Enter into a public-private partnership with a qualified experienced developer to redevelop the Grand Bahama Airport. Extend the airport operational hours to facilitate red-eye flights, allowing international connections via Nassau. Okay. Seek to provide enhanced marina facilities to accommodate mega yachts on Grand Bahama by incentivizing and attracting qualified investors. Pass the Freeport environmental bylaws relating to pollution, natural resources, environmental management, and nuisances. Pass a Freeport building and sanitary bylaw amendment to allow for the demolition of derelict structures. And execute an annual hurricane or flood response drill that protocols with key stakeholders. That needs to be in the manifesto. Okay. Sure.
Oh, I read that just now. I'm reading along with you, and I can only smile.
Hey man, you got to put it down.
An annual hurricane flood response drill and protocols. We need to do that for every island.
I don't understand.
Not just Grand Bahama.
Everywhere. And okay. Leverage the University of the Bahamas Northern Campus to accelerate the current plan to establish Grand Bahama as the tech hub. We're back to this.
Goodness.
Tech hub of the Bahamas. Well, hey, it's important. We got to get everybody on board, and that hasn't happened so far. So we've got to put it down so that people understand that we're serious, I guess. Use UB North as a catalyst. That's still going to be there. Use UB North as a catalyst to develop and attract technology incubators, labs, and research facilities, as well as startups and established technology and logistics companies. Okay. All right. So we're clearly going to have to do another part on this.
Because we're only on page 29.
There's a lot more. But let me just throw this in there. This is my thing, and I'm not happy about this at all. Okay. So local government. You remember this? The big old local government for New Providence committee and the report that was done and that they tabled, but they haven't talked about it. They never even put it out for public consultation, really. But there is a chapter on local government. And remember, again, that was local government in New Providence. That was in the previous manifesto. That was going to be a big thing.
What page are we on?
We got to go scroll all the way down, past education. And past health, past over the hill community development, past international relations and immigration, and labor and public service, fiscal affairs, yes, all the way down. Social development and disabilities, way down. Past sports, there we go.
Local government. Security?
Yeah. page 77.
Oh.
Mhm.
Why didn't you just say to the end of the
Well,
document?
I was scrolling.
Okay.
So the F&M first introduced local government in the Bahamas. We remain committed to the ongoing development and evolution of local government. In the next term, we intend to continue to promote improvements in the modernization of local government on the Family Islands, enhance the training and skills of Family Island administrators and their staffs, enhance access to digital technology in local government administration, and continue to work with Family Island communities in the drafting and reviewing of development plans and projects for their islands and communities, including public and private sector investments.
So,
The
no
end.
local government for New Providence.
Not a word about it. Not
'Cause it's-
you, not Providence, nothing anywhere near there. That's off the table. They said they were going to, I guess that was all they promised, a committee to look at the feasibility of doing local government for New Providence. And
Right.
they formed the committee, and the report was tabled, a very comprehensive report that could form the
So
basis for
then
local
that
government
means that
everywhere.
they lived up to the commitment that they made.
That's all they promised, I guess. They did not mean for it to happen for New Providence. And there you
They
go.
did
That's
say they
the-
would look at it, Dwight, and they did.
Yes, they did. And bam, that's it. Wow. Okay. Meanwhile, the blueprint, our blueprint for change, the PLP, says they are committed to creating a framework for New Providence, local government for New Providence. So look at that. So this is where we are. Anyway, we've got to leave it there for now. We'll have more on this, I'm sure, over the next few days. But Laverne Gardner, always a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Thank you very much, folks. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.